Hey y'all, good morning. We got a nice little something for y'all today. Miss Simone was cooking up, starting at 10 o'clock. And y'all know we got Agent Dabney coming on too at 11. Really excited about that. Let's see, let's get our stuff going on over here.
Hello, good morning.
There she go. Hey, Miss Simone.
How are you feeling today?
How you doing? I'm good. I'm blessed. I can't complain at all, man.
Every day. That's what I just keep telling myself with all this corona going on. Simone, you are alive, you are well, you have a roof over your head, a little bit of food in your belly, maybe a little. You have your HeartSmiles family.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are blessed and highly favored.
Man, right? Absolutely. And we being productive. Like when people calling me and emailing me and stuff talking about they ain't got nothing to do, I'm like, how? Like how? How don't you have anything to do? People making posts talking about they bored. How? How are you bored? Like, yo, Rona got me working harder than when I ever worked.
That's what me and my mom were just talking about that the other day. I'm like, if we can come out of this, going back to normal work and a job will be a breeze. Like, I'm actually really excited that, well, not excited because this is not an ideal scenario, but when you make the best of a not so ideal scenario, your only choice is to come out stronger and better. And it just propels you forward, you know? Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. And it's so refreshing to watch some of the young people grow and be creative and come outside of their box and to do that. And I'm like, yo, that right there, not just this Rona situation, but just in the world, that right there is a glimpse of who's going to be leaders in this world and who going to be able to take any situation given to them and still be successful.
honestly, because my sister, she's 70, she's a senior in high school. So they have a group message for all the seniors, and they were going back and forth about whether they should do a kind of a petition to postpone their prom and all this stuff. And my sister was like, everyone's all over the place. No one can make a decision. I was like, this is time for you to step up and be a leader because y'all are just like how you're having these conversations in a group message. This is what's happening in the White House or in boardrooms.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah.
next leaders. And if y'all can't step up, come to a common goal, then we'll have foolishness that we see that we continue to not. People don't just grow up one day and become a leader. You got to start now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, listen. Man, listen, Miss Simone, I don't think that people really understand the power of now, like getting started now, because you just take for granted that you're young, you got time, where really you got just this small window. And I was listening to this podcast yesterday, and in this podcast, he was specifically talking about how teenagers are the most underfunded, like
Mm.
how they put more money into early childhood because the idea is that if you start them off early, giving them resources, giving them experiences, exposures, then by the time they're a teenager, they'll already be good. But what people don't understand is that you take two kids who are 3 or 4 years old in the environment is such a disparity. You don't have those same type of experiences and opportunities and stuff. By the time you get to be a teenager, you are already behind the ball. Like you already behind in life. And he was just talking about how some people just still don't even recognize that or see that as an issue. So they underfund in the teenage years, leaving teenagers to like basically sink or swim and put all the money in their early childhood. And I'm just looking at that like, wow, what if our kids really took these 3, 4 years they got to be a teenager and really went hard?
They could catch
Right?
past people.
Exactly. Exactly. Beat all the odds. But man,
No, we'll talk about that
hope
tomorrow.
Hopefully they'll get it. Yes. The last thing I'm going to say on that note is if you are a teenager and you are watching this, take advantage of your now, because your now, your tomorrow is not promised. And the same people who are willing to help you now at 16 or 17, trust me, they will be inaccessible by the time you 21, 22. That's it.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic. Drop the mic. Elder.
I didn't expect for my camera to pop up like that. Like it's supposed to warn me.
No, I'm not gonna lie. That happened to me a few times.
I was like, oh no.
Hello. Good morning.
How you just being ready though? It's 10 o'clock.
Miss Tony, I was ready. I was ready.
You don't look like you ready. You look like you just rolled down the bed.
That's it right there.
Hey, yo.
Miss Simone, tell her I was ready.
We were. I called you this morning. We were ready. We were ready.
Exactly. I just had to get my beauty rest.
Baby, get this success. Come on.
Exactly. Forget beauty rest. Get this success.
I did sleep really well and it made a difference. I am loud. No, I feel great. So
Miss Simone, you always feel great.
No, I mean, it's because I told them the other day too, like, you know how people have a resting mean face? Like, I have a resting smile face. I don't know why. That's just my default. Like, it just, even when I'm angry, I'm like.
Miss Simone be like, my dog died.
No, I
be like, Miss Simone.
This is because.
Are you okay?
I let the light shine.
But no, like I'm ready for the success. Y'all ready? Cause I'm hyped now. Like
y'all so crazy. Yeah, I think Highly Secure having a little bit of trouble. I'm trying to help her right now.
Okay. Yeah, because it's good. I really love when y'all come on these success sessions. It really hits different because we can talk about stuff all day, but when y'all can add your perspective, I know your peers.
Birds was loud out there.
Y'all can share knowledge with each other. So
yeah. No, I'm super happy I get the chance to be on a success session. I feel special.
Yeah, you are special.
Yes, you are. You want to tell the people what we're talking about today?
What?
You want to tell the people what we're talking about today?
So today we're talking about how to manage your money.
Yes. How to budget, how to manage your money in like a real practical teenage way.
Yes.
Yesterday when we were on the phone.
Yes. Not adult money, teenage money.
Clearly. Little money.
First of all, I ain't say that.
Undisciplined money.
Miss Simone. Miss Simone, can we give Miss Donnie like strikes?
You can give me strikes when I'm telling a lie. Give me a strike when I'm telling a lie.
After this session, she won't be able to say that because we're going to be honored.
Yeah. It's okay because I'm ready to drop some jewels on her.
Okay, I'm waiting. Highly Secured.
Yeah.
Yo. Part of my face. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I don't even know how to work this. Is this going to keep switching people?
Well, if
you can swipe it and it'll show all four. Yeah.
Swipe it?
Yeah.
Okay, there y'all go.
All right. Yeah.
What's up, y'all?
What's up?
I'm sorry, I look a little rough. It's the quarantine lifestyle.
You good, man. You good.
I am so. Can someone screenshot this? This is all I need. Okay, let me stay.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about how we need to talk about managing practical, kind of like more. Usually people throw manage your money, all this stuff, and me and Elder were talking and said like sometimes it could just be too much. And then Miss Donnie threw a little shade and she said teenage money is undisciplined money, baby money, you know. Anything else, Miss Donnie?
I mean, you guys start small. But I feel like regardless of what you got, if you can get the habits, and once you really get some money, you're gonna be good.
Yes. Yeah. And the key,
She got a point.
yes,
Mm.
key there is creating good habits. Like with anything in life, you have to start getting some kind of plan in order. And sometimes people don't like a plan because there's all this stuff that wants to tell you YOLO, you only live once. And, Hyla, you could talk about this when we first talked about, what comes to mind when you think about budgeting, like what were some of those things?
Basically, when I first heard the word budgeting, I kind of like ran from it in a sense because I used to have like a mindset where like I figured if I work for my money, I should be able to do what I want with my money, which is not the case. It's not the case at all. So I feel like budgeting is really important because it helps you look at things different in like a more mature perspective in a sense. So you have to like it's better to plan things out. For me, writing things down really helps too. And the goal is to do it like you brush your teeth, like you just do it just to do it. You know what I'm saying? It becomes like a norm. So
I love that.
yeah.
What and anyone who's watching, you can comment too, like make this interactive so this can be productive for everybody. But what comes to mind when you think about budget? And you can be
But
real. You don't have to, like,
my initial thought when I thought of budgeting, I thought like bills. Like you only have to budget when you have bills to pay. Like you only have to budget when you're an adult and you got multiple things to pay for. But then I realized like you can not have anything to really like that you have to pay for, but you still have to budget so that all your money don't go to one place.
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful moment.
I love y'all. I don't think sometimes y'all realize y'all be knowing, okay? And this
Yeah, because I wasn't ready.
is starting. Okay, anyways, let me stick to my point because I'm going to tangent. But y'all both hit on like different things. So Hyla, like you said, like when you first think of budgeting, you're like, man, I mean, like I work hard for my money. I want to spend it the way I do. And I feel that 100%. But when I first saw a financial planner, he's like, you still can't, you work hard for your money and you don't want to be stressed and still be working hard. It defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah, definitely.
Are going to do stuff every day to put money in your pocket, you are doing yourself a disservice by not managing it well so that it's like in my hand and in someone else's hand the next day and I'm still sure like I'm just a rat on a wheel in a never ending cycle. Like how do I get control on this? And like the more you budget, the more you actually are in control of your money. Like the more like you're working hard and you can see exactly where your money is going. It could be for what you want it to be and not just going along with the flow, living your best life, and then sitting at home looking crazy when nothing's there left. And like you
Mhm.
they're like, it's so good to plan ahead of time and plan early because yes, you might not have a lot of bills, but there's some other things you might want to do. Like everyone's in high school, right? Y'all want to go out with your friends. You want to do stuff. You want to pop out for prom. You want to go to college. Some things.
Holla like I'm not in high school.
Not in high
right?
school,
Like,
but I got you. I got you. I got you.
Been out of school 5 minutes.
right, like
Every minute count, Miss Jones.
in college. But you might want to buy a car, move out. Like these are some things. So the first thing, always budget. Remind yourself that it's for you. You're investing in yourself. Don't think of a budget as something trying to hold you back, something trying to like put you down. It's really you taking control of your money. And instead of like just giving it away back to all these corporations like McDonald's and the movies, all this stuff, you're being more like aware and cognizant of it. You're like paying yourself in a sense, and we'll talk about that with savings. And you're like really managing how this goes, and you're really like living your life to the fullest. So does that make sense? Any Jules?
yeah, no, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
Money is from like going to the gym. Money is just another thing, but it's the person behind it that really drives it. So just like feel empowered about your budgeting. Don't think of it as something like, And if you still think about it as something like, oh God, I don't want to budget, really ask yourself what is making you feel that way, and then get with some to try to break those things down, because it's really just all in your mind. Like, it's just breaking it down, getting a plan, and getting on top of it. All right.
I
Yeah.
feel like when people think about budgeting, they think of like restrictions in a sense because they have to like plan and they can't like like they have to be frugal with their money. And a lot of times like people have that mindset, you know, I worked for it, I want to go out this weekend and the weekend after that and the weekend after that and I'm gonna get paid the next weekend. You know what I mean? People, it's really easy for people to live by a paycheck to paycheck type of lifestyle, but that's like probably the worst thing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you want to know what's crazy? It's this app, like this online banking app. It's called Chime. I don't know if you've seen it before. So basically, like Chime, they basically say like you can get your paychecks 2 days earlier than everybody else, and then you have to realize like who are they trying to target? You feel me? If you have money in your bank account, then you're not really concerned about when you get your paycheck. But I'm like, they're basically trying to say, we know you live in paycheck to paycheck already, but now you can live paycheck to paycheck 2 days earlier than all your other broke friends.
Exactly. They
And
make
I'm
it they
like,
make it easy for people to be unsuccessful.
right,
Yeah.
right. And my friends, they will be really, really cheap to say, oh, Elder, you so cheap. You so cheap. And I'm like, I'm not cheap, but if I could get it for a better price, then I will do it. Like if the Nike sign is
Frugal.
backwards, but it still look like a Nike shoe, I will buy it.
Okay.
Like I'm playing, y'all. I'm playing about that part.
This means we need to wait and save up so you can get to work. But I like what both of you said too. Like, like you can't. There are targeted. There's so many things in the world that will try to get you off course. That's why there's only 1%. Well, that's a whole other thing. But you can be successful, and don't let these like ads and all this stuff and your friends try to get you off track, because that's just capitalizing for these big corporations and businesses, like you said, to target certain people to keep them in the paycheck to paycheck mindset. And your friends that call you cheap want you to be just as broke as they are. Bye. But it can feel like a restriction. That's what, like, I had to throw that word out, because even you can just, it's just planning. Like, if you want to go out every weekend, be real with yourself. And that's what I say to like everybody that I try to talk to about money. Like, be real. Don't lie to yourself about your budget, because it's only going to hurt you more. You have to do that self-reflection. If you know you can't stay in the house and you like to go out every weekend, plan for that, so that even if you can't do it right now, you know where you want to be. You can find jobs, work some more hours to try to get you there, but also have like a plan up, so you know, and you can check yourself. I'm going out every weekend. I know I don't have it every weekend. You got to sit with that. You know, no one's going to tell you, but that doesn't mean you can't plan for it. So this is good stuff. So the next thing, is there anything in the comments, Mitch, or anything you want to add?
Well, yeah, y'all just getting, comments of people just agreeing with what you're saying. And you got a comment that says it's easy to spend money and it's harder to save.
Definitely.
Perfect segue.
Yeah.
So see, yeah, we talked about this. How much did you save every paycheck? What percent?
20% of your overall paycheck. Yeah. So
Wait.
the way we what?
That's how much you should.
I mean, yeah, 20% out of like what you make. Like, let's say you get paid $1,000, you take out 20% of that and you just save it.
Yeah.
That's like
See,
a
for
form
me,
of.
I don't make a lot, so I try to do like 50, so that like I could try to save quicker. You feel me? Because I make a little bit.
Well, I feel like that's cool right now, because I'm just gonna assume you don't have like a lot of expenses. Like,
right.
Like when you get older and you're gonna want to move out, you're gonna want to get a car. Like that's when you start taking into account like that 20%, because you're still gonna need money to pay like your phone bill, car insurance, any other miscellaneous things that you may need to put in monthly, transportation, if you're not driving. So, I mean, I'm glad that you're starting somewhere. 50% is a lot, but kudos to you. I'm gonna stick with my 20 for right now. Yeah. Kudos
Yeah.
to you.
I mean,
Y'all got a question too.
go ahead.
Your question is, how do you deal with wanting to do stuff with your friends or family, but are not able to because of financial reasons?
You want to take that, Elder?
I mean, honestly, for me, like, if I don't have the money, I just have to say, like, I can't do it. Like, and for me, like, just personally, I don't really like to ask people for money, because then I feel like they're like, oh, money. And I don't want anybody to feel that way about me. So for me, I would just say, you know, I really can't make it this time.
I agree with that. Personally, if that's the case, I'm not gonna let anybody know maybe my financial state, but sometimes I just be like, not right now. I'm gonna catch y'all next time y'all go out. Maybe let me know ahead of time when y'all go out, so that way I can plan better. You get what I'm saying? Because when you start talking to people like that, you already on a different mindset where they like, oh, she got to plan her money. Oh, she got to think strategically on, how she's spending her little bit of coin that she do got. And it's going to say a lot about the people around you too, to see if they respect that.
Yeah. And I mean, just to kind of add on to that too, like we talk about being disciplined a lot. And I think discipline with money is definitely something that you need. And when you really shift your mindset, just like on how you think about like what money is and how you get money, like you'll notice that money will become less of a problem or less of a burden in your life. And a good example of that is people who associate exchanging their time with how they make their money. It's always like, all right, I got to get these hours. I got to get these hours. I got to get these out. And they just kind of stuck in this mindset of I got to get these hours versus the person that's like, you know what? I need to do something I'm passionate about. I need to do something that I love. And then you allowing the money to come to you based off of that. So then you've done already eliminated yourself off of that hamster wheel, because now you're not just exchanging time for money. And then now you're truly like in a position where money is coming to you. And in terms of this whole conversation of budgeting, now you basically just budgeting to make sure that your stuff is paid on time and that your credit score is improving and that your money is now working for you and you not necessarily working for your money.
I think also like a way to like manage your money is just to have like just any other source of income. It don't have to be a second job. It don't have to be like something like a whole lot of money. But let's say like you do one little thing for a couple of dollars. Like for me, I cut hair, $5. That's $5 right there that I can add to the pile. So, because for me, like I like to eat out a lot. I mean, now because we're quarantine, I'm saving a lot more money because I'm eating in the house. But it's like if you can have something else to add to the things that you like, then it'll make it a little bit easier than all your money from one section going to one area.
Definitely. I agree with what you're saying on that part. But also like for people who necessarily can't think of maybe like a side hustle in a sense, even if you just start saving for what could be, you can save and put aside for what your future passion might be. You get what I'm saying? Let's say you can't do it at that moment, but if like so there's this thing, I don't know if y'all heard about it, it's called the $5 bill challenge. Anytime you get a $5 bill in cash, you just put it to the side. Like you don't touch it, and eventually like it stacks up, but like you can save that type of money for a future passion of yours. So let's say you want to start a business or anything to bring you some more sort of income. You get what I'm saying?
No, that's a good idea. I never tried it before. I tried it once. I saved like $5. Then I had to go to the store and
you gotta act like it's not even there.
Yeah.
You gotta just act like you don't even got that money. Just imagine if they didn't even pay you that. You know what I'm saying? I just pretend like, I'm missing $5 on my paycheck. All right, cool. What $5? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if anybody owe Elder $5 for a haircut, pay her up.
Oh,
dang.
Now, Miss Joni. Next topic. Next caller.
Yo, if I had anybody that owed me money, pay me my money, I'd be good. I'd be able to give everybody a HeartSmiles, a cool 500. Like, great. Yeah, man. Yep. Adults too, if y'all watching, y'all know.
Oh,
Burn.
Look,
but I feel like for me, like the reason why I feel like I'm so frugal in a sense is for real is because for one, for a long time, I never even had a job. Like if I was getting money, I was getting it from my mom, and I didn't like it. So it was like I kind of wanted money on my own. So the money that I had, I was getting it from the Yab cards, and mind you, the Yab means are every other week. So it's like I would have $30 for 2 weeks, and that was real for me. Like that was it. And it was like I had to find a way to make sure that that $30 would last me 2 weeks, so I wouldn't be like broke. So it was like basically for me, like since I know I like to eat out, I just had to say, well, if you want to eat out, then you have to make sure that you're not spending $17 on one meal. You feel me? So it was kind of just like I knew I didn't have a lot, so I learned how to live with less, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect. Yo, I do exactly that. Like if you didn't know me, if you only just seen me somewhere, like you would think I had $10 to my name, and that's it. I don't need fancy nothing. The only thing I like nice is my shoes. Other than that, nah. My little $15 sweatpants from H&M, my little $10 shirts from my own website that I buy from myself. No, for real. Like, and that's it. And that's it. Don't drive no nice cars for real. You know, just nice, regular, low key, house, regular, low key. But I know what I could have. So it's like, it don't even, I'm not even stressed that I don't have it because I know if I could, that I would. But, you know, to be able to have my mom happily retired, like, that's important to me. She ain't stressing about nothing. To be able to make sure that, you know, when somebody do call, I can legitimately help. And if you are in that situation where you can't pay me back like so many, all right, it ain't gonna necessarily break me. I'm gonna be upset because of the respect factor. Like, look, if you say you're gonna pay somebody back, just pay somebody back. That's how you show somebody respect. But I ain't about to be sitting around crying over it either. You
Yeah,
just
like
played
I can't
yourself.
live now.
Yeah, like you just played yourself out of access.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me where I'm trying to be 5 years from now. Man, I'm trying to be inaccessible.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I was talking to Tati yesterday, and we were basically talking about like investing and stuff. And she brought up a good point because it's kind of like when you buy clothes, you're not getting anything back. You feel me? You can buy the shirt, you can look good in it, and you can get compliments, but that's about the only thing that you're gonna get back in buying clothes. But if you take your money and you invest it in, let's say you want to put up a website and that costs $30, and it's like, let's say you wanted to start your own clothing brand and you invest in that, then you can get the money back. And I feel like it's all about like keeping the money like within a cycle. That way it's not like needlessly going to things that don't matter. And dressing nice is good, but if you don't have it to dress nice, don't like waste your money. Like, don't be out here in like no designer shirt with dirty shoes. Like,
Facts.
honestly, you are, know your why. And that's the thing. Like, money is just a thing. Like you have to, the person behind it speaks more to what that money does, how you make it work for you, and all of that stuff. Y'all are dropping really good jewels.
They are, man. Who would have known?
we knew.
Who
Hey,
would have
yo.
known? Like, yo, I'm trying to tell you, man.
I'm so happy.
People be underestimating our youth. I ain't even gonna lie. I be surprised sometimes too. Like, yo,
That's
y'all
crazy.
really on it.
And
I
like,
be
Yes,
dropping jewels
man.
on Miss Zoni all the time.
Yo,
Helping
but
her.
you got to do more stuff like this though. Like, it's not fair for you just to keep all this talent and all this wisdom and all this knowledge to yourself. Like, that's not fair. Don't be one of those self-serving leaders where you just try to keep it to yourself. There's no
You right.
reason why you shouldn't be, you know, doing more things like this to share this, because peer-to-peer influence is so much more powerful. Like what y'all say weighs so much more weight than what I say or what Miss Simone say, because y'all right there living it. Like, y'all for real. So, and what I be saying almost every day, Miss Simone, poor people can't help other poor people.
yeah.
And y'all are far from poor in terms of mindset. Like, y'all got wealthy mindsets, and y'all really want to do something and be something in this world. I'm glad to have a front row seat but I need y'all to share this. I need y'all to get this out, man, because this is important.
Thank you, Miss Joni.
Definitely.
I think I'm gonna cook up something. I think I'm gonna do something like Shalor did. You feel me? I'm gonna come up with some topics and I'm gonna get on my live and I'm gonna see if they feeling it for real.
You know, I would do that with you.
All
If you
right,
give me
bet.
like
I think.
a schedule, if you give me like a schedule, I would do that with you.
All right, bet. I think
Sure.
we could cook up something. Miss
Definitely.
Simone, calm down.
No, you know.
Don't calm down, Miss Simone. Calm up.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna calm down.
Definitely.
People talking negatively about our youth, about Baltimore City, and I'm like, there's so many positive things going on. And just like how what you focus on will grow. If we can focus on ourselves and positivity and spreading all the gifts and talents we have inside of us, we won't even need that. Just be quiet. We're doing our own thing. We're good. We don't need schools. We don't need, I mean, we do, but still, we have each other, their knowledge and what we've learned with each other and other people, and we'll just take over.
I'm so sorry, y'all. Winter is going off back here. He picked the perfect time, y'all. Normally he'd be nice and chill. Yo, if you want to say hi, just come up here and say hi because we're really about to get it.
Miss Joni, you have a cat?
Yeah, I didn't know you had a cat.
Yeah,
I know a lot of
you
people
look like
did.
a cat person.
You know,
I'm
only
like a
person.
dog person.
You don't even look like a
Hey,
kid.
yo. Facts.
But I think like one way to like Hala said, like one way to really save is just to like set your mind on a goal that you want. Like for me, I want a car because I'm tired of taking a bus. And I was just like, well, that's why I said I put 50% because it's like I want a car. Like I may not have to like pay like a car note or any other bill, but it's like I know that I want a car. So every time I get on the bus and somebody like get on my nerves, I'm like, let me just put some more money in my savings so I can get my car. Like because I hate to hear it. Like
Alda, have
every
you ever
time I
made
miss
a
the
vision
bus.
board?
No, I never made a vision board just because I don't know, like it just never really clicked for me with the vision boards. I kind of just vision it in my head because I know what I want, but maybe I think I should try it. Maybe
You gotta put that down. You gotta make it grand slam. You get what I'm saying? A vision board. I made several vision boards, and every single last one helped me. You get what I'm saying? The point of a vision board, absolutely. The
Yo said, let me pull the car.
the point of a vision board is to see your vision every day when you wake up. You get what I'm saying? You make your vision board, you put that somewhere in your room, and that's your daily reminder. You know, keep going, don't stop, don't settle. You get what I'm saying? And that vision board, you can put whatever you want on there, all your goals. You can put a whole bunch of money on there. You can put several cars, several houses. You know, because that's what you're striving for. You get what I'm saying? But it's different when it's in here versus when you can see it. You get what I'm saying? Because you got a million and one other things going on in here that sometimes you're not even paying attention to that specific goal that you're going for. You get what I'm saying? You should try. You should make a vision board. Simple. Get you a poster board. Get you some magazines. Start cutting out things that you want to see in your future. You know what I'm saying? Put that on your room every day. You see that. Every day you wake up with a mindset of I'm striving and I'm working for that goal. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody ever explained it to me like that. I feel like they just said, "What you want to be when you grow up? Put it on a vision board." And I was like, "Oh,
yeah."
Elder, I hate to cut you off. Highly secured, that was amazing. But somebody DMing me, Chaos Movie said you supposed to be on another call right now.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh, snap.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Oh,
you guys, I have class at 11, just to let y'all know.
Oh, dang. All right, well, that's cool. We end at 11.
All right, cool.
Get you up like 10:55, take a little 5-minute break.
All right.
Hopefully y'all hold yourselves accountable to really doing that live and sharing this information, any topic. Nothing is too small. If you about it, 9 times out of 10, someone else is thinking about it. So I'm excited.
Okay. I got a question though for you, Highly Secured. So for young people who might be watching now, or for young people who might watch the replay, right? they in this situation where they already feel like they strapped for cash, they don't have any money. Like, what's your advice to people like that who are kind of already living that life to where it's okay, as soon as I get $5, it's gone 15 minutes later because I don't really have anything anyway? Like, how do you talk to that young person?
I feel like for that young person, it honestly sounds like they just, I hope this doesn't sound harsh to me, but it feels like they just lack discipline in a sense. And I know we all tend to lack discipline, but if you can, I'm gonna just use the word pretend that you never had it, there's nothing to try to hold back from yourself in a sense. So basically, when I say that, I mean the little bit of money that you do get, you know, I'm not saying that you have to put everything to the side. You get what I'm saying? But you have to think strategically. If you have a closed mindset, then you have a broke mindset. You get what I'm saying? A fixed mindset will keep you in that same fixed position. If you want to grow, then you're gonna have to develop that growth mindset. You get what I'm saying? And I'm a really get on Elder about these lives because I feel like I can definitely dive way deeper into that topic. But that growth mindset is very, very crucial. And if you want it, you're gonna do what it takes to get it. You get what I'm saying? Nobody can do it for you but you. At the end of the day, these are decisions that you made. So you're just gonna have to stick with them. You get what I'm saying? But there are resources and there are people and tools to help you get through that. But at the end of the day, it is your decision. And if you want to change, you're gonna change. But if not, you're gonna stay where you always been. You get what I'm saying? Poor mentally, physically, financially, all of that.
Yes.
Let the people know.
Right. Right.
Seriously.
Ducked off and grew up on us.
Oh my goodness. At least you can say I grew.
Definitely, big time. Because you ain't that far from like high school, teenage years. Like, you right in that critical point that we talk about, like where it's like, are you really on your own now for real? Training wheels gone.
Basically. Whew. Yeah. It's like beautiful and scary at the same time. You know what I mean? Because any type of change is gonna take a different type of mindset. You know, if you're the same person you was last year, that is a big problem. You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
Talking about, I'm sorry. Can you just touch a little bit more on that growth mindset and like you said, just graduated from high school and college? Like, what was that transition? What tips would you give someone else? You're almost there, but not like what changed for you to be like, no, like this is my life, and even talk about some of the scary stuff, like how you continue to persist past that. Like,
okay. So having first I'm gonna give a quick definition for people that may not know. A fixed mindset is someone who is not interested in growth, is not interested in excelling themselves as a person. They're not interested in becoming the better version, the best version they can be. That's someone who has a fixed mindset. Someone who has a growth mindset, the key word is growth. You know what I'm saying? They're always up for a challenge. There's always room to grow with them. There's no such thing as that's enough learning. That's not even a thing. Personally, when I transferred from that big mileage in my life from high school to college, it was a challenge, and it was a challenge that I embraced because I have that growth mindset. Someone who has a fixed mindset runs from challenges in a sense. So for me, it took a lot of self-reflecting. It took a lot of humility in a sense, because like I used to be the type of person where like you could tell me something, I'm gonna just be like, all right, I hear you, but like I really don't be hearing you. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of that self-reflecting actually went back to my mom, because a lot of the things that she would tell me in the past, I would listen to it. Currently, I would replay it back in my head like, dang, she was right. You know what I mean? And I would catch myself a lot of times almost in like a deja vu type of thing, because it's like, this is way too familiar. You get what I'm saying? Or I know my mother said something about this. You get what I'm saying? But it was basically just me adulting. this whole process that I'm going through right now is just me adulting. I'm 19. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be 20 in October, but age to me is nothing but like a number. You get what I'm saying? If I'm not mentally up here with my age, then I'm a child. You get what I'm saying? So I feel as if though that transition for me, it was a little challenging, but I embraced it. And I'm proud to say now that, I'm doing better than I ever have been doing as far as academically in my life. Um, every decision that I made, I'm at a community school right now, and I personally believe like that was one of the best decisions I could have ever made for myself. A lot of times people look down on people who go to 2-year institutions, but personally, it saved me a lot of money, so I can save and I can budget and I can plan for my future. We was talking about earlier. Um, it slows me down in a sense and it grounds me because I'm the type of person where like I be thinking about a million different one things. That's why it's good to write things down. And you can tell my mind is not clear on one thing, and it shows in my work. It shows in my sleep. It shows in my diet. It shows in just me being a person. You get what I'm saying? People don't realize how one thing affects the other. Your body is trained. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't do anything just off the rip. You give your body that go to for like really anything. You get what I'm saying? You put in unhealthy foods in your body, and then it's like you're damaging yourself, but then you're like, why am I damaged? Because you've been setting yourself up for failure. You get what I'm saying? And I personally feel like it is crucial to fail to grow because people who like they say, people never post their failures. You get what I'm saying? But don't let that trick you because everybody has to go through the storm before they see that rainbow. You get what I'm saying? And I'm still in my storm, but that storm it's an ongoing thing. You get what I'm saying? And it's different points in your life when you can sit back after a while and think, I'm blessed. You get what I'm saying? I came from this and I've seen my growth. And then you can look back on like a vision board, maybe from last year, and you can look back on some notes you took, a personal notes that you took from a couple months ago. And you should be able to see and you should be able to develop, that higher mindset, that growth mindset. You get what I'm saying? It's very important that you have that type of mindset because if you don't, you'll be stuck. And the city that we live in right now, that's all they expect about us. That crabs in the barrel mindset is to just be stuck and can't nobody make it. You get what I'm saying? But that's not. We got to break through that norm. You get what I'm saying? So it's very, very important to have that growth mindset. I'm actually gonna run that idea by Elder because I can talk about a growth and a fixed mindset all day. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been in both positions. You feel me? So yeah.
It's one of my favorite topics, yo. I can listen to that all day. I can listen to you talk all day just about that, and especially from a youth perspective. Like, yo, anybody that's watching this, if y'all get that, you basically got the keys to the life. She handed y'all the keys right there. She handed y'all the keys right there. Right?
Kyla,
Yes, ma'am.
my breath is taken. What you better preach. You sound like a seasoned woman.
That's a growth woman.
Growth woman. Age is like some people. It's like time is the only thing we have, so it can like check you. Like those are good checkpoints, but you can still be 50 and have a poor mindset. The stuff that
Definitely.
embracing challenges, embracing your failure, and then not staying there, learning from it, growing from it.
Yeah.
What?
We have to.
Honor, that stuff is key.
Yeah.
I don't want you to ever be sitting on your talents and gifts like this. I don't want you to ever, that's not really me. This is you.
Expose me.
Oh,
Okay.
what were we supposed to be talking about? That just blessed my soul.
Right? Bless my whole soul too. We was on budgeting, man, but this is a budget for life. This the
Seriously.
yeah, it's like the spreadsheet for how you win, man. Like,
Got to.
And like you said, like nothing just happenstance. Like it really is you. Like you have to plan, you have certain habits. Like I really wish people would own it's okay. We're all human, like you said. No one's perfect. But if you can do that self-reflecting and really figure out what you're doing, like that might be making things happen or not happen for you, that is so key. So I'm gonna try to tie this back into our budgeting conversation because that was just so good.
Can I say one more thing about what she said though? Because it was so, it was just so key. Did y'all hear how she talked about reflecting? Like when I'm doing sessions, and I'm talking about my leadership sessions with adults, like I talk about reflecting being one of the things that you got to do every single day. Because if you listen to Holly Secure, she said, and sometimes it was like deja vu, because she was like, I know my mama talked about this, and she was reflecting on some of the lessons that she had learned. Well, successful people, we know that we can't wait months and years to get that lesson. We need that lesson as soon as possible. So if you take some time to reflect at the end of your day, every single day, and especially reflect on the things that didn't go so right, you're going to have those highly secure moments every day where you learning something. For real, where you learning something every day and you taking it. So that way you're not putting yourself in a position to potentially even make that mistake. And now what you done did, you done moved the barrier out of your way, a barrier that you didn't even need to go through because you reflected, you got that lesson, and then now you already know kind of how to move, and you can be more prepared for the crap that's going to come that's out of your control. We got so much stuff working against us already. I could go down the list. We Black, we female. I could go all the way down the list. Stuff that's just outside of our control that we got to deal with. Why not do ourselves a favor and move the things out the way that are unnecessary, that is within our control? So I appreciate you for saying that, because not a lot of young people get that's important, that whole reflection piece. Like that's big.
Thank you.
I mean, just shut it down. We don't
Man,
need
shut it down, y'all. Shut it down.
so good.
Man.
This is key.
Oh, I'm so glad these being recorded. Somebody going to get blessed from this a year from now, 5 years from now, and be like, they're going to search up Highly Secure. Oh, where's she at now? Man,
Doing
global
big things.
leader, global stage somewhere.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. We're going to have to, because I'm like, look, we got time to be successful. This is the stuff I want to be engaged in and focus on. So maybe we can do a part 2, because I know we didn't get to hit on everything, and I want you to keep dropping jewels. This is amazing. We'll do a little bit of budgeting, a little bit of life plan budgeting, growth mindset budgeting, but I know you have class, and we're about to wrap this up. So I'll just say some main bullet points for what we about today, and then you got to come back. I'm sorry, please.
Okay.
Okay. This is good.
I'll be back.
Thank you.
Gotta be, yo.
We need you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And bring us more, people like yourself who have some value to offer, like especially in that age range, because it's important for us to have, more young leaders like yourself to be able to take on different projects and do different things, and to be, like a mentor for some of the kids who are younger. And you already know, you got any teenagers, you already know where to put them.
Yeah.
I got you. Now I'll definitely come back.
And we were talking about a little bit earlier how people like don't think about teenage, and that's such a critical year. Like it feels like you get all this support when you're younger, and then now when it's really time for you to start making life decisions, hope you make it. And it's like,
yeah,
wait, hold up. And it's like, this is key.
Yeah.
Y'all, and y'all can give it to someone else, and they can give it to someone. We will keep our pipeline going, because this is critical. Like this time in your life, like Michelle, if you can get this right, which what you're doing now, light years ahead.
Yeah, and you know what the guy was explaining too, that I understood so well. He said people don't want to invest in teenagers because they hard-headed. Like at that age, you kind of got your own mind, and what most adults don't understand is that you can't do it for them. You got to do it with them. And that can sometimes be frustrating. And y'all know, that's why some of y'all get cuss outs like crazy. And, you can just look at some of my relationships with some of the heartbeats, like Rabbit, like, oh my God, drives me absolutely crazy. And if I was one of those people who I was just like, man, wash my hands, I'd have been done with a Rabbit. So people really aren't built to work with people during those teenage years, and it's frustrating. And that's exactly what he was saying. He was like, that's why don't nobody put no money in teenagers, because they too hard. They would rather work with the early childhood people where it's like you got a little bit more control, you got a little bit more say, it's less mouth, less attitude, less headache, less problems. And I'm like, I agree, I'm dumb. Let me tap in the early childhood. I done missed the boat. I'm like, don't leave me. Where y'all at? Teenagers alone, yo.
No, this is so true. But this is good. I'm saying, like, you're learning and growing when you can start, like you said, ooh, my mom was right. Like when I started saying that, that's when I was like, okay, all right. And the
Mhm.
humility is so key because sometimes you're gonna make those mistakes. It's bound to happen. We all are trying to figure it out. We think we have the answers, all this stuff. You trip, and then you got to look up and be like, okay, who can help me clean this up a little bit, and what can I learn from this to move forward? So that humility is key. Doing it with, we can't do it for you, okay? Like you have to want it yourself.
Yes.
And
I feel as if though what you're saying about the humility thing, a lot of people get humility and laziness confused. And let me explain when I say that, right? So when people think of humility, they think that, well, humility is the act, right, of just being humble. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of times when, let's say, we're talking about teenagers, right? Let's say like if a teenager falls, a lot of times it is teenagers are they're very influenced people. You get what I'm saying? So it's all about that immediate circle. And to anybody watching this in that age range that um kind of was like, oh dang, that's me, what Miss Joni and Miss Simone were just talking about. You have to look at that immediate circle because believe it or not, the people that are closest to you have the biggest impact on you. I just want to put that in there because it's like you can catch yourself hanging around the wrong group of people, but how do you expect to be good if you keep hanging around them the same group of people? You get what I'm saying? I had a friend of mine, he said he did some reflecting. Me and him were talking, and last year all of his homeboys were either incarcerated or deceased. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, so what are you doing now? You get what I'm saying? How are you gonna change that norm? You get what I'm saying? You have to look at that immediate circle because whether they're gonna tell you or not, they're very easily influenced at that age. I'm still easily influenced, you get what I'm saying? But you have to know the right from the wrong. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There was this thing I remember hearing. It was basically saying like, if you sit on a dumpster, if you sit on a pile of trash, there is no way you can get up from that pile of trash without smelling like trash. I hope I'm saying this right. It's basically saying like you
It
can't.
makes sense.
Yeah, like you can't be hanging around a bunch of bums and expect to be a millionaire. And it's like what are you doing? You get what I'm saying? And now like I used to be that type of person. Like I would literally sit, not physically, but like mentally, I'd be sitting in a pile of heaping hot trash. You get what I'm saying? But I'm looking up, asking, God, like why am I broke? You know what I'm saying? Why am I can't get the latest J's? You know what I mean? Like, cause that's physically impossible. You get what I'm saying? To keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result is definition of insanity. You get what I'm saying? And we want that clear from people. You get what I'm saying? Because that right there will have you trapped, lazy, and poor. And that's not it at all. You feel me? That's not it. That is the worst. So
We don't want it here. We don't like.
yeah.
Hey, Christopher, we talked about that last week when we said we were talking about how you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You're the average. Yo, show me your friends. I can tell you where you're going in life.
Easily.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to cut people off. Don't be afraid to cut people off. They gotta go. If they not blessing you, if they not motivating you, they gotta go. Like that hits home for me for real, because there's a lot of fake people out here. There's a lot of people that quote unquote want to see you do good, but won't even listen to your problems. You get what I'm saying? Let alone give you $1.
Let you make the same mistakes and not say anything. Just be like, oh, well, or be right there with you. Don't be mad when people ask you questions that actually like hit you. Like, be real with yourself. If someone asks you,
Mhm.
what, like, oh, oh, they just, it's you.
Yeah.
Take yourself accountability. Cut them out and cut yourself up. Smack yourself a little bit and get it together.
Definitely,
Yo,
definitely.
I love it. I love it. I love it. This has been amazing, y'all. Can y'all believe our time is up already? Man, we gonna let Holly Secure
Wow.
get her little 5 minutes break before her class.
Thank you, thank you.
But thank you so much for joining us, Holly Secure. This is definitely a blessing to have you and to know you, and as somebody who's watched your growth. Like, man, I'm super duper proud. Like, so proud.
I appreciate that. I really did. Thank you.
Man.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Simone. This was a good look. All right, we'll see you back later, man. You good?
All right. Thank you.
I'm gonna wrap the conversation really quick just on the budgeting, and we're gonna do another part. But
Oh
remember,
yeah.
first thing with budgeting is changing. It's not a restriction. It's helping you. You can plan for the things that you want. Be real with yourself about your budget. It's gonna help you. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. The second thing is saving. All right, we'll talk about this more. But remember, saving, think of saving as paying yourself. You're investing in yourself. Your saving is helping you plan for the things that you want in the future. So write your goals, get a vision board, get your mindset open to changing and growing so that when you think about budgeting and saving, it doesn't seem like a burden. It seems like it's investing in yourself and your goals and where you want to be. All right, next time we'll get more into it.
Yeah, all good. All good. See you, Holly Secure.
See you guys.
Man, I'm excited though for this next guest. Miss Simone, you know who we got coming up next?
Yes, Agent Dabney, here we go.
Yo, Agent Dabney, yo. Do you know who Agent Dabney is? Did I tell you?
Yeah, isn't that your sister?
It is.
That's Breezy's mom. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. That's my sister. So I'm really, really excited about this. Man, listen, y'all got about 3 more minutes or so. If you know anybody that's on parole, on probation, got a court date, justice involved in any type of way, this is the conversation they want to be on. So grab them, tell them to jump on this live. You can ask all your questions. And if law enforcement, or anything in that realm is something that you want to do career-wise, get them on the live too, because this is the conversation to have with Agent Dabney. She's going to be talking about all that, her journey, school, what it's like to deal with these inmates and stuff like that. She's going to talk about her time in the jail, all that stuff. So yeah, man, this is about to be a good one. Miss Simone, you are amazing as always.
Wait, I just can't shut up because I'm gonna go because I'm about to get on this session too. So everyone, you also need to. I don't know, but does everyone know that there is a state mandate in Maryland where you can't be outside like that anymore? It started yesterday at 8 p.m. I just want everyone to be careful so you don't end up as an inmate or in parole. You are only allowed to go outside for essential things. Essential is groceries. If you have to go to work and you're an essential person in the workplace, you can take like a quick little walk, but you can't be with more than 10 people up and down the street. And then you need to be in the house. Please don't get in trouble because we don't.
Y'all better know. Y'all got that alert to your phones yesterday from Hogan, but thank you so much for that, Miss Simone. And if y'all got questions, hit up Miss Simone. She'll make sure you good.
Bye, y'all.
All right, Miss Simone. Man, this is about to be good. All right, so y'all, we're gonna take a 2-minute break real quick, and we'll be right back at 11 with Agent Dabney. Hey y'all, we are back. Man, powerful session with Miss Simone, Elder, highly secured, of course, man. Shout out to them. So happy just to be associated with young people with so much knowledge and so much wisdom. So if you guys were in on that session, then you know how amazing it was. But I'm excited for this next session too. We got Agent Dabney, man. Yeah. And I'm super excited for this one because if y'all haven't heard me say a million times already, this is my sister, y'all. Like my real sister, like same mother type sister. Yeah, so I'm excited for Agent Dabney to join us. This is going to be a conversation all about like that supervision, parole, probation, like law stuff, like all that type of stuff. That's going to be in this conversation. So if you know anybody that's justice involved at any level, got anything going on, invite them to this conversation. If you or somebody you know is interested in law as a profession, like any branch, anything dealing with law, government, this is the conversation to be in, so that you can ask your questions and stuff. Taylor said, same mother sister. Yeah, because you know how some people be saying like, that's my sis, that's my sis. I got a lot of those, and don't get me wrong, they are my sisters, but like just like my sisters, like sis. No, but no, I'm excited to have her on. She should be jumping on in just any minute now, but definitely make sure that that you guys put in all your questions and stuff in the chat. I'm going to make sure that all your questions get answered, any comments or anything that you have. And even if you want to ask a question on behalf of somebody else, I know especially in Baltimore, we have a high rate of young people who are justice involved. You know, whether or not they deserve to be, that's a different topic. But there's always questions like circulating that type of stuff in terms of the criminal justice system. So any questions that you have around that type of stuff, feel free to put them in the comment section. All right. Let me check on Agent Dabney. Make sure she good, y'all. But how y'all doing this morning though? For y'all that's been hanging with us since this morning, that was a fire conversation, wasn't it? So I'm a future state's attorney. This is my conversation. Yeah, you right. This is definitely a conversation. Absolutely. Yeah. There we go. There we go.
Good morning.
Agent Dabney.
So I was on my phone and it just had HeartSmiles and it had the black background. So I'm like, I'm waiting. And mommy like, they asking for you. And I'm like, no, I'm still waiting.
Yeah, no, that's because you was saying the part when we were just on like a short break.
Yeah, I said, Mom, we taking a break. Look, she said, no, they saying, where is Agent Dabney? I said, oh, let me click the button.
Where your video at though? We can't
I have no video. Oh, let me see. Okay. Oh, yeah, it do have this X next to the start video. It says Zoom is unable to detect the camera. I might have to do it from my phone. I'm gonna do it from my phone.
Oh man, okay. The laptop must don't have a
laptop. You know, they got restrictions on the state stuff, you know.
Y'all heard that? So that lets y'all know how the state do. So Agent Dabney gonna join us from
iPhone, from my personal stuff. Give me 1 second.
State got restrictions. Y'all hear that? I know Taylor said the conversation was wonderful, very inspiring. Seeing Hollis' growth just touched me. Her words. I know, man, very inspiring, very inspiring. It's amazing to see young people take advantage, you know, of the environment that they have around them to be able to grow and do things. That's nice.
All right.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me say iPhone. We don't see you yet, though.
All right, let me see. Let me see if I.
There we go.
All right, there I go.
Yeah. Let me
Right.
get this other one off.
Let me get myself situated with my phone. Like this. I guess I'll hold it like this. All right.
Yeah, there we go. Agent Deb, good morning.
Good morning. This is my
Man,
first Zoom meeting.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm new to this.
Oh man, that's great. Well, welcome to Zoom. Welcome to our success session. I appreciate you so much for
Thank you for
agreeing
having me.
to be a guest. Man, so we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it. So could you start by just telling us a little bit about, like how you grew up, walk us through kind of like your education, and then a little bit of, just kind of how you got started.
Okay, well, I grew up on the west side of Baltimore. Well, I can't really say grew up because we lived there until I was 9 years old. And then we moved to the east side. I went to Baltimore City Public Schools for elementary, middle, and high school. After high school, I went to Baltimore City Community College, got my associate's degree, went to Towson, got my bachelor's degree, and then got my master's degree at University of Baltimore. And now currently working as an agent here out of Baltimore County. My office is in Dundalk.
Okay, so did you always have this in mind, like as your career path? Like, are those the things you studied in like high school and then going into community college?
Well, I always wanted to be a lawyer. Like that was like my, childhood. What do you want to be? Answer. But originally I got into nursing because I had my daughter. So I ended up having my daughter at 19. And so I said, man, if I want to be an attorney, that's going to take a long time. I need to do something that's quick. So at the community college, they offer a 2-year RN program. So I got all my prereqs, got into the program, and then realized I hated it. So where the classwork was easy for me, I'm an excellent student. That comes natural to me. But the actual clinical part, getting into that hospital, I wasn't gonna be able to do it. So I ended up transferring to Towson. I said, you know what, let me just go ahead and start my criminal justice because that's where I wanted to be at anyway. That was just supposed to be a little segue where I could make money while I was still going to eventually pursue my, end goal. So went to Towson, majored in criminal justice, graduated in 2009, ended up getting a job. Well, so I didn't get a job right from undergrad because getting a state job takes about a year. So in that year, like I said, I was a professional student by that point. I said, you know what, I might as well go back to school. I'm not, I don't have a real job yet. So I ended up applying for grad school. Well, lo and behold, I ended up getting a job with the state that September, and I had just started grad school in August. So I'm like, man, I wouldn't, if I didn't know y'all was gonna call me, I wouldn't even started going back to school. But but I was already in there. So I'm like, all right, well, I might as well just go here. So that's how I ended up getting my master's. Like I wouldn't have had my master's if I had already just got my job. Because you don't need a master's to go to law school or to do what I'm doing now. It was just, I had already applied, didn't have a job. So anyway, I ended up working in the jail, was a case manager for 6 years. And the primary job of a case manager is what we call classification. So this was pretrial. So you have case managers on the pretrial section, and that's for people that's just getting arrested, haven't been convicted of anything, pending trial, either don't have a bail or can't pay the bail that they were given. So the primary job as a case manager is to classify. And what that means is you're going through that rap history, and a host of other things and determining where they should be housed in the institution, whether they should be low, medium, maximum security, providing what we call inmate services, such as, their inmate commissary balance, If they're on special housing floors where they can't walk around, so you're going up there providing services. If they're on mental health units, making sure that they're getting those services, sometimes allowing phone calls, hearing grievances. It's just a whole lot of stuff that you deal with at case management. So I did that for 6 years, and then I did a lateral transfer to parole and probation. And lateral just means that it's still considered the same pay grade, pay scale. You just literally just move over. So it's all still the same requirements to have that position. And with parole and so being a parole and probation agent, obviously I deal with people that's on parole and probation, and not just parole, but mandatory release. So you have people that are in institutions doing time and they get what we call paroled out. And that means that they sit in front of a parole board or parole commissioner, and they plead their case, and then that board decides whether or not they're going to grant them early release. So people get released that way, or they get released by what we call mandatory. And that's when, like, if they have jobs in the institution, they earn credits, or if they served a certain amount of time, then we mandatorily have to release them earlier than what their sentence is. So I have people on parole, mandatory, and then just your traditional probation.
Okay. Y'all keep y'all questions coming. I'm going to ask y'all questions in a second. Let me ask you this before I start asking you some of these questions. Can you talk about the relationship that you have with like other branches of, I don't know if it's called government or just like other people who are in like the law enforcement? So like, what's your relationship with police officers, with lawyers, with judges, people like that?
See, we're all interconnected. So with being an agent, I have to go to court all the time. I was actually just in Patuxent Institution yesterday for a revocation hearing. So I talk to judges all the time. I talk to parole commissioners all the time. I talk to police officers all the time. If one of my people come in and they have a warrant, I'm calling up, I'm calling police officers to come get them. So we're all interconnected, at least on the parole and probation side. Now, on the case management side, not so much. You're in the institution, so you're just basically dealing with correctional staff. But parole and probation, like, you literally have to treatment providers, everybody, like, you're everywhere because people are in the community.
Okay. Taylor wants to know, what advice would you give to an aspiring lawyer as far as what to study and what steps to take leading up to that position?
Definitely decide what kind of lawyer you want to be. It's a lot of different, and that's one of the things too that kind of made me not want to be an attorney anymore. So when I was working in the jail, and that's something that I wanted to do, I wanted to be a state's attorney. I found that actually the state's attorney make the less. Like, state's attorney they only make usually like 100,000, which might sound like a lot, but in the scheme of lawyers, what they make, it's very little. Like, lawyers that you see going into the courtroom aren't making any money. The lawyers that make money, you never see them. They aren't going to court. And these are things that I learned, being in this environment, the tax lawyers and things like that. Those are the people that's, making the money. So I would say it's so many different types of lawyers and an attorney. So research that and decide, what type of lawyer you want to be. What type of law do you want to study? So that would be the first step, is to have an idea, because when I got into the jail and then I saw these public defenders just overworked and underpaid, I'm like, I don't want to be like them, so that was my thing where I'm like, so that was my wake up call once I actually got around attorneys. And once I really started, asking questions, and I was like, oh no, that's a negative. But like I said, I hadn't researched any other type of attorneys. I knew I just wanted to be in that kind of criminal justice aspect of it. And like I said, once I got exposed to it, I was like, no, that ain't what it's same thing would happen when I did nursing. I got into that hospital and I was like, this ain't for me. And that's something that I just suggest to anybody that's considering a criminal justice career is, and I said this, like, once I finished school, I said, they really should give people tours of the jails and just allow them to kind of shadow people that's in this profession before they make a commitment to it. Because it wasn't until, I had spent years in college, obtained a degree, that I actually really met a criminal. I knew all the theory and all of that, but to actually be able to put it in practice, like, you really don't know what you're dealing with till you're dealing with it. So it's like, by that time you stuck. Thankfully with nursing, I hadn't finished the program before I got to the hospital and realized I hated it. But expose yourself to this subculture, because that's really what it is, before you decide and really put all of your time and energy into something that you feel like now you don't put too much into it for you to kind of change your mind.
Yeah, that's a great perspective. And for the teenagers that's listening, I hope y'all picking up on these jewels. So being able to kind of just do some research now and figure out like what direction you want to go in terms of a general career. That's great advice. That's great advice. The next question is, do you interact with those who are behind bars a lot?
Thankfully, no, I don't. I did for 6 years when I was a correctional case manager. But now, like, I went into the institution. I went into Patuxent Institution yesterday. So yeah, in the act, I got to walk through. They actually brought my client into the room. He was handcuffed. I mean, but 90% of my people have been in jail. You know, they've been, but now, you know, they're out. But yeah, I have a whole lot of experience dealing with people that's been behind bars. That's the bulk of my career.
Your next question is, I don't know if you know much, but due to Corona, what does the jail help to keep inmates safe? What does the jail do to help keep inmates safe? Because on the news, I heard inmates are currently getting coronavirus. That's a great question. Y'all
I
keep
heard that as
coming.
well. So, like I said, I went to Patuxent yesterday, and I found out when I left Patuxent that, like they said, a patient, inmate or two had the coronavirus. Of course, this was after I already left. So I can say when I came in, they read me a series of questions. I had to answer the questions satisfactorily, and then they took my temperature. And I will say that it was immaculate. Like, and I actually said something to my colleagues when I left out, like the place was immaculate. Like, and only people you saw out were people that were working. Like, so only the inmate workers were out. No extra staff, no extra movement. So it's pretty much on lockdown. But I could find out more information as to what they're doing in the jail if you want. But that's just what I saw with my own eyes yesterday. Like I said, it was immaculate. You only saw people just, you know, out cleaning, and it was no type of crowds or chaos or anything like that.
That's awesome. So how were you able to like keep yourself focused like during that transition? Because you said that you had a child early too. I'm saying child like that ain't my niece. So you had a baby, right, during like that critical period, like after high school, into college. Like, how were you able to still kind of, you know, manage that whole situation and keep yourself on track to still like be something? Because so many people, especially young girls in Baltimore, once you got a baby, you done.
Well, I really attribute that to not only my family support, but more so to, and I remember thinking when I was 18 and pregnant with my daughter, I'm like, you know what, if I'm struggling, that means my baby's struggling. So that was my mindset. Like, I honestly, you know, I attribute my success and where I am to the fact that I just did not want my child to be struggling. And I honestly think that had I not had that motivation, I'd probably be on somebody's couch. Because I feel like, you know, I could take care of myself. Like, I'll manage myself. But I'm like, I don't want to just be managing with my baby. Like, for me, that just wasn't an option. So it kind of just made me really take life serious once I knew, like, you know, I'm not going to be, you know, having handouts. And I'll tell you another thing. My mom wouldn't let me get WIC or anything. So I had to go out. I had to do, you know what I mean? Because she just, you know, and her, you know, she told me, like, you're not going to have that mindset that anybody owes you anything. So, you know, I remember going to Sam's. It used to be $88 and some change, because I had to get a box of Pampers, I had to get wipes, and I had to get formula. And I'm like, you know, I'm gonna have to be able to afford this, because my mom, you know, and granted, I could have went down there myself, but I've always been somebody that listened to my mom for the most part, you know, some stuff. You know, with that, I listened, because I just was like, you know, yeah, I don't want need no handout either. You know, let me do what I need to do. So with that, and with having those, you know, I never got daycare vouchers. Like, I never got anything. So it was like, you got to make stuff happen. So, you know, I think that when you do get those handouts, if granted, a lot of times it's needed. And that's not talking about people that don't have the support. Like I said, I had family support and people that were going to be of assistance to me to help me be able to stay independent. So if you have that option, or if you have the option just to do things on your own, it allows you to not be complacent and just be content to just sit there and let somebody do stuff for you. So because I never, you know, was used to anybody handing me anything, that just wasn't an option. I had to become self-sufficient. And then I didn't like the idea of people just doing stuff for me and me not contributing, in some way.
Yeah, shout out to Sherry Hollifield, man.
And I'm gonna give y'all another example too. I remember I was in high school at this time, and I was working at Dairy Queen in Towson Mall. It's not there no more. And I quit because they wasn't, you work like those mall hours. They funny with your hours. So you might have 3 hours this day on Monday, 2 hours on Wednesday, 5 hours on Saturday, and that'd be it for the whole week. So I'm like, I can get this money from my mother. Like, I ain't gotta come in here like this little bit of money. So I remember, and I never forget, I remember I came home and my mom was like, why you not, you ain't been to work. Like, why you ain't going to work? And I was like, I quit. And she was like, well, I hope you don't think you want to look over here. Like, I'm not giving you no money. And I was like, what you mean? Like, that was just a little bit of money. And she just was like, I don't mind putting to whatever you got. If you got, she was like, but if you don't have nothing, like, don't look over here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I was raised. Like, you gotta be bringing something to the table.
Sherry Hollifield. Y'all hearing it. Y'all thought it was just me. Sherry Hollifield. All right, the next question is, what do you think is a good way to understand more about law enforcement besides just Googling it? That's a great question. That's a great question, y'all. Keep your questions coming.
I would try to do, a lot of times they do ride-alongs. And you can just call your precinct to see about a ride-along. Ask people like me, ask your peers. Who do you know that's in law enforcement? All our law enforcement people work in our communities. They live in our communities. They're required to do so. So ask questions, network. That's what I would say.
Y'all heard that word, network. What would you say was like the biggest challenge that you faced so far, just in your career in general?
I would say dealing with different administrations. When you're not the boss, you gotta listen to other people, and that's just what it is. So we can get, and I'm one for routine, which can not necessarily all the time be a good thing. So, you get one way of managing your caseload or doing something, and then, and then two, with higher ups change a lot. With our elected officials, with changing in administration, then basically my bosses change, and what they want and their teams change, and then policies change, and operations change. So it's with, dealing with having to kind of rearrange and readjust how I function. And then two, a lot of times you listening to people who aren't doing the job. So, they're the people who only read the books or, never even met a criminal or did you can't do what I do, but you're telling me what to do, basically. I mean, but just so it's a lot of times, and then you got to try to talk to people in such a way where you don't sound condescending, but you're trying to inform them so that they know, like, this really don't make no sense, Yeah.
And when you say administration, are you talking about like the Trump administration, the Obama administration, like that trickles all the way down?
No, I'm talking about state officials. So my ultimate boss is the governor. So I'm with state government. So you got your local government, which is the city officials, or if you work in the county, you have the county. Then you have the state, and then you have the federal. So the federal government is Trump and all them. So federal workers, abide by that. But I mean, granted, the state can't override the federal government, but I'm with state government.
Got you. All right, y'all. I see y'all questions. I'm getting right to y'all questions. Keep them coming. How has your experience with being an agent, if so, affected your personal life? Like, since you are exposed to far more and as laws.
You know what? That's a very great question. And I'm going to tell you that it's so much better on this end. Believe it or not, being in the jail, I was like, that's where I kind of felt more, so word I can use, susceptible to being noticed and stuff outside. Because this is the thing. I was a case manager, so I didn't wear uniform. I wore regular, what we call civilian clothes. So people could point me out, outside. I couldn't go to Lexington Market. I couldn't go in the city without them saying, that's the case manager, that's the case. You know what I mean? And I'm in the jail. Like at some point, all the criminals come there. Even if they don't stay there, they come. you know, versus now I'm in Dundalk, you know, so, and, you know, I'm not in the city. I'm not dealing with those, you know, those people. So now it's like, I can go out. I'm like, I'm free. Ain't nobody noticing me. I can go downtown. I'm around, you know what I mean? I'm not running into people I went to high school with. You got to deal with all that in the jail. You know what I mean? I'm like, look, if you see me outside, we can catch up, but this my money here. You know, this ain't where we do reunions, you know? So now I had that freedom. I still, it ain't no big deal. It's so much better. Like it's counterintuitive, but it's so much better being on this side. And then, like I said, too, I'm dealing with people who are outside and who want to stay outside. So, you know, their attitude is better versus everybody in the jail. You know, nobody is guilty. You know, it's everybody's fault but theirs. So they already got an attitude, you know, so it's just better on this side.
Yeah. And you got your license to carry too, didn't you?
I don't, but I can at any time. For a long time, I didn't trust my temper, but I could now.
All right. Taylor said, could I have your emails? I can pick your brain. I'm so
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I got you. No problem. What is one inmate that had an inspirational story that you could share the story with us if you would like? What inmate had a positive mindset and how he could adapt to that type of environment?
Now, you got to remember, I came from pretrial, so I wasn't dealing with people who were serving time and serving sentences. So that would be more of like a DOC, Division of Correction style case management question. So on my end, people were just trying to get out of jail. Like I said, they weren't convicted of anything, meaning they weren't found guilty of anything. They either couldn't make their bail or weren't given a bail and was pending trial. So they weren't sitting there reflecting on their life. They like, look, I'm innocent. Get me out of here. Why I'm here? I don't belong here. I ain't do nothing. So that's their attitude on the pre-trial side. Now, when you get to the DOC, where they've been convicted, they got to come to terms with the fact that, you know, they're going to be here for a while. That's when those things start to happen. And you got to think, too, on pre-trial, we don't have school and all that kind of stuff. Whereas DOC, they can get these trades. They can go to school. You know, they have to have a job. It's not like that on the pre-trial side. only juveniles go to school. Or if you already have your high school diploma, GED, then they can't even go. You know, it's limited. It's very limited on the pretrial side. So in my experience, I haven't met not a one that said anything inspiring.
What is your specific job description? Great questions, y'all. Keep these questions coming.
Okay. It's so multifaceted. So if you look up parole and probation agent, it's like at least a good 15 bullet points. But I'm going to sum it up for you. So if somebody gets put on probation, let's say they even get a PBJ, meaning a probation before judgment, meaning they didn't even necessarily go to jail. Let's say you get a traffic ticket, right? This happens to everyday people. You get a traffic ticket and you go to court and they say, you know what, we're going to give you a PBJ and you just got to pay $100 fine. Well, that PBJ can come with or without probation. And that's all going to be contingent upon whether or not you have any type of criminal history or whatever like that. And that's also determines whether or not they offer you a PBJ in the first place. So let's say they put you on supervised probation. I'm not trying to scare y'all. This does not typically happen. Normally they just say PBJ, pay your fine. They don't think about no probation, but you know, I'm giving you a story here. So let's say they say you supervise probation and then they're mandating now that you take, let's say they thought that maybe you might have been intoxicated or something. So they just want to make sure that, you know, you aren't addicted to any type of substances or whatever. So they say, we're going to mandate that you do drug testing and treatment while you're on probation, right? So then what you do is you take that and you go to our intake office and then they assign you an agent. Let's say they assign you to me. So you come to my office and what I'm going to do is I look at your order. Remember, this is probation. I'm looking at your order and I'm saying, okay, I'm trying to figure out now what the judge has specified that you do, because that's my job. My job is to make sure that whatever the judge put on this is that you're doing it. And if you don't do it, I'm going to write the judge and you're going to get off my caseload. That's what I do. I try to make my job as easy as possible. And when I say get off my caseload, it means more than I'm about to go to jail. You know? So I'm going to look and I'm going to say, well, the judge specified here drug testing and treatment. So I'm going to give you a referral, more than likely to the health department, because I have very good connects down there. And so they'll tell me whether or not I'll get an email whether or not you went, where you went. They'll give me like the pre-evaluation stuff. Like I said, I send a lot of people there and they want my business. That's another thing too. You have a whole lot of outside agencies, especially a lot of drug treatment places who trying to get clientele. They come to us, give us lunch and stuff for us to refer our people there. So anyway, I'm going to look at this order and I'm going to say, okay, you got drug treatment. You got, you have these fines, you have acts, you know, it's a bunch of standard orders, obey all laws, which means don't incur any new charges, get a job or go to school, that type of stuff. And then you have like what we call special conditions. Special condition would be this drug testing thing, this drug treatment thing. So like I said, I'll make sure that, okay, every month you're going to provide, after you get the assessment, if it comes back that you need treatment, now every month when I see you, you better have me paperwork saying that you went to treatment. If you don't, because my report day is on Tuesday. So if you don't have it on Tuesday, you don't waste your time, because now you got to come see me on Friday. If you don't come see me on Friday with it, I'm going to be writing a report on Monday. Like, that's how I do. And that's why I'm going to give you cases average in my office, about 80 something. I got 42 active cases. Like, I don't play. Like, I'm not, my job not going to be hard. It's even, everybody on my caseload is in the dark. So you're either going to do what this judge told you to do, because you got to accept probation too. And that's what I tell them. You accepted it. You signed right here, not me. So you accept it. You told the judge this is what you're going to do. And we just, it's just my job to tell them whether or not you keep me at the end of the bargain. So that's probation. Now, parole is, like I said, you done sat in front of a parole commission, you done pleaded, cried, begged for a chance to get out, to show that, you've learned your lesson and you've, paid your debt to society, right? So you really shouldn't be giving me no problems. Same thing. It's a probation order. So if they whatever they stipulate, a lot of times they don't kind of just do drug treatment. If not drug treatment, then it's kind of just standard stuff. As long as you stay out of trouble, don't incur no new charges, report to me, and whenever I tell you, we good. Mandatory, the same thing. Now, you ain't beg and plead with that. You got your credits or whatever, and you came out, but they typically don't give me no problems. And a lot of times you have people on parole and probation, because people get found guilty of stuff and their sentence will say probation too, and then they get out on parole. So now I have them for a parole and a probation case.
Geez, so you're basically acting like a mini judge, enforcing the rules that the judge said this is what you gotta do.
Yeah, and I give recommendations too, so when we get in there, they're going to ask me, what my recommendation is, which is why I don't like young people on my caseload, because they get over it. I do all this work, we get in front of the judge, and I be asking for a second chance for you, but I don't do that for the older people. Because it's like, why I do all this work just to get in here and ask them to have mercy? And I do that for my young people. But I can tell you a story about one of my young people.
Oh, right.
So, this little guy, he couldn't have been no more than like 20, 21, right? Oh, he gave me a hard time. But like I said, he was young. I get my young people, I get them a lot of rope, and they know it too. I get them I do a lot of threatening. I don't threaten my old people, but the young, I be threatening, try and get them to, autocorrect. We get in the court because he's still not, he playing around with treatment, like he got treatment, and I'm like, look, and I'm even going to the treatment provider. I don't talk to nobody counselor. I got to talk to your counselor so I can get what I need for when we go to court. Like, I don't be talking really just trying to come up, trying to help you. I don't do that. But young guy, like, I'm doing everything I can on my end. Long story short, ended up still having to violate, and we get in there, and the judge like, Agent, what's your recommendation? And I'm just like, y'all, and I think we should just give him one more chance. And the judge like, you better be happy, Agent, because that was all he needed. Like, that was all he needed. That boy sent him a treatment certificate. And I'll tell you, before his probation ended, he came to my office. He was all smiling. He said, Agent, can you come to the parking lot? And I don't be going no park. Like I said, I don't even really talk with my young people. I go to the parking lot. He had bought a car. He was like, yeah, I had saved up $2,000 and this.
Wow.
And he was telling me how much his insurance was. Like, he was like so proud, and he was like, just thank you for believing in me. And I felt I was so good. I was so happy with that.
Wow.
So yeah,
awesome.
I like being on the side.
That's awesome. Here's this question. So basically free trial is like a tougher side. I think he's saying pre-trial.
Yes. Pre-trial is tougher because for a bunch of reasons. People haven't been found guilty, so they got a whole bunch of rights that innocent people have. That guilty people don't have. Get ready, then we kind of just housing you. You're not really necessarily property of the state how it is when you found guilty. Again, that because they haven't been found guilty, and of course, even if it's on video, they innocent, so they're not acclimating to what their new norm is going to be, and just trying to set their mind. They're still in fight mode that, oh yeah, I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna get off, I'm going home, versus people on the DOC side that have been convicted. They're forced then to accept that, okay, this is what it is. And then two, they have that incentive of these credits that they're trying to earn. They want to get certain jobs, because all these things aid in them getting time off, and it's called good time, so that they can get on like I said, the mandatory is when you earn so much time in there by going to work and going to school, that they then reward you with an earlier release. So if you get in DOC and you acting up and not doing what you're supposed to do, then you're losing time. So you always have what we call a maximum expiration. Now that's the maximum date by law that you can be held. And then you have what we call a release date. Now that's once they actually tally up your credits based off what you're doing, and that can change, and that would ultimately be your mandatory date. So those dates not going to change if you're not getting those credits, and they know that.
Okay. How do you feel about your job on a scale of 1 to 10? Would you refer this job?
I definitely would. I mean, if this is something that now for myself, if I could go back in time, absolutely not. I would be a business owner.
You would be a what?
I'll be a business owner. Business is where it's at. And I've never had an entrepreneurship spirit. It just actually jumped on me during this Rona. But that's what you need to do. I don't recommend working for somebody else if you don't have to, and if you're young enough to have the determination and the ability and just the motivation to be able to do it on your own. Because my thing is, my smartness is working for somebody else. Why not have it work for me? And I'm gonna give you an example. My best friend is a director over a nursing home, right? And this is something she just told me the other day. And she came in and cleaned the place up. Like, she's a very smart person. And she's like, now she's concerned about her job security, because she's like, I've trained people under me. The place can now run itself without me, because I'm good at what I do. And I hired people that were smarter than me in certain areas and could do things and that were competent. So now, now they really have to justify my salary, because it's like, we don't need nobody to come in here, clean this place up and get this place functioning again. So in my mind, it was, well, please, you could, now, if you was doing that in your own business, the benefit of that would be able to sit back with your feet up. But because you did it for somebody else, now it's your job security that you're worried about. And that was something that I never really thought about. The better you are for somebody else. And then now you could potentially, especially she's in the private sector. I'm not in the private, I'm government, so I don't have to worry about my job. I can work or not work. I'm still they still gonna take your taxes, they still gonna give it to us. But when you in the private sector, it don't work like that. You can have a job today, be gone tomorrow. So if they find that they can't justify that salary, because now we doing good, the company doing good, while we paying her all this money now, when all the hard work, dirty work done, now you got to be faithful. Whereas if you would have did that on your own in that private sector, your hard work just would have allowed you to be able to be home while your business running itself. So to answer your question, no, I would not be doing this. I would be having my own business.
That's a jewel right there. If you had a mistrial for an assumed murder that you can come, if you had a mistrial for assumed murder, can you come home until your next court date?
It depends if they're gonna give you a bail or not. Everything that, and for murder, normally they do no bails. But as long as you're pre-trial, it's possible for you to get a bail. So everything determines on a bail. The only time that you can never get out is if you're guilty, and then you got to wait for that time to pass. But as long as somebody has, and if it's a mistrial, you haven't been found guilty. If it's a hung trial, hung jury, you haven't been found guilty. But it would be all up to that judge to decide whether or not they're going to allow you a bail, that person a bail, which more than likely they wouldn't. And so they do bail review hearings all the time. It's called habeas corpus. So you would write habeas corpus, and that's just basically requesting a bail review. The judge going to normally grant you a bail review regardless, because that's like your rights. Like I said, you're not found guilty of anything, so you have certain rights. And then, but at that bail review hearing, the judge will give you the reasons as to why they either going to accept or, or decline, your proposal. So that's how that works.
Ma said, you seem so nice but strict. I love it. Tell us how we can be like you.
You know what? It's survival of the fittest in this business. I wasn't always as assertive as I am. I wasn't always as confident as I am. And, confidence always and also accompanies competence. And so I'm confident because I'm competent as well. So when you know that you know what you're doing, you can have a certain level of confidence in that. If it's something I don't know, and that's something too, I'll say, I don't know in the heartbeat, I'll get back to you. But yeah, working in this business, I work with criminals are not stupid. They are like some of the smartest people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of the smartest people. Like one of my guys, well, he back in James now, I told you how that go. But he got like $100,000 from Best Buy, like through their computer system. He was like a computer geek. Like a lot of criminals is not like what they show you on TV. That's not what's sitting in my office. It's not that. Yeah, like a lot of people are like nerds. Like it's be nerds that be sitting in my office. Smart people, education. So you have to have a level of smartness yourself, or you won't, joke gonna be on you.
Wow, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
How can we be a leader but also have that strict mentality so we don't have other people running over top of us or using us?
Well, I think a leader has those qualities, though. I think a leader, if you are a leader, then you have those qualities where you do, because you have to know who you're leading. You have to know the audience. You have to know that realm, right? So how can you lead somebody if you're not, like I said, you have to be competent. Like I can lead because I know my job. Like if I didn't know my job, there's no way in the world I'm gonna be in this office telling these people what they need to do, or we gonna go to court so I can be in court look crazy, right? So in order to have confidence, know what it is, know the business, whatever business it is. And when you are competent and you have knowledge, that is going to give you that confidence. You're going to be able to be boldly and not scared and shaking in your boots, hoping somebody don't ask you a question because you don't know. You'll be able to say, no, this is what it is. This is what it's going to be, because you've done your research. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it do. Y'all, forgive me for skipping through this little comment, because this comment almost put me on the floor.
What?
Tell them that the Sally Mae system. But you didn't hear from me though. Yo, Tim is crazy. That's my baby. It's crazy. All right. I feel like working in any type of law enforcement, you have to demand respect. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like you cannot get into this business. I'm not a social worker. I tell people that all the time. It got to distinguish. You have compassion and things like that, but you can't let that, override, and because it can get in the way of being objective about what it is you got to do. You know what I mean? And that's why certain caseloads I don't have. Like I don't have the sex offender unit. I can't deal with them. I don't have a domestic violence unit. So you got to also know what it is that you're capable of. Like I know I wouldn't be fair to them. I'd be trying to put all of them back in jail. The domestic violence people, same thing. I ain't gonna be fair with them. So even when it was recently that my supervisor approached me about what they call specialized units, about doing it, I said, I ain't gonna be able to do that. I'm not gonna be fair to them people. Give me the general people, give me the murderers, and I'll deal with them. I'm not dealing with them. I'm not dealing with people that, that prey on people. I can't, it's not gonna be fair. So what question was I answering?
That's a good perspective. You were answering like a comment where it was saying like in this field in law enforcement, you have to demand respect.
Yeah, you have to. And so you have to know in what areas that you're comfortable functioning in, too. Because it wouldn't be fair if I'm dealing with these sex offenders that I know I don't like. So how can I command respect when I'm not being fair? So I got to be comfortable with the way I'm operating at. You know what I mean? So that I'm able to be fair, firm. We call it fair, firm, and impartial. So just knowing yourself goes a long way too.
Yeah, that's a good point. What are some of the hardships you have to deal with at your job?
Incompetence. And I'm going by administrators. So, okay, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. My supervisors just changed, praise the Lord. So my old supervisor, right? I literally, if a case was complicated, and it really wasn't even complicated to somebody that knew the job, but the littlest things was complicated for her. So if something was complicated, I literally had to wait until she wasn't in the office so I could take it to our seasoned supervisor to sign off on my work. So that kind of stuff is frustrating because I knew I didn't have to explain. I didn't have to make him, because some people, and that's something that, leaders have to know, is that you don't know everything. So whereas my supervisor, she didn't appreciate that she had somebody who is self-sufficient, competent, and knows her job. She kind of took it as a challenge. So she always wanted to challenge me, and it wasn't until she actually made all her phone calls to find out that she's right, that then we could proceed with getting this paperwork, getting this stuff moved. So that was just a hassle. And then she didn't like us going, because I wasn't the only person. She didn't like us going to the other supervisor because, of course, it's like, why are you not coming to me? So we just would wait till she wasn't there. And so that way she couldn't say, well, why y'all went, to the other guy. So dealing with that can just be extremely, extremely, the work itself. And I find that with most jobs I've had, it's not the work. It's who you're working under that can really, that kind of makes, but those, I use that too as learning abilities or learning opportunities for myself. I've been under harsh management, and that really built character in me. Whereas now, you see people that's always quitting the job. So I'm like, wherever you go, people going to get on your nerves. It's going to be something that you got to deal with. So you got to learn how to be able to acclimate and adapt to certain, different management styles and things, or you never will grow. So sometimes that's needed. But with this lady I was dealing with, that was just unnecessary.
Yeah, that is crazy. And that speaks to something that people say all the time. Like, people don't necessarily leave jobs, especially when you invested in getting education and experience and stuff. They leave bad bosses.
Yes, absolutely.
That is awesome. This is a fire conversation. It's crazy that our time is winding down.
Is it? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. Yo, we only got probably about 10 more minutes or so. Please put your last minute questions in there for Agent Dabney. I'm gonna make sure that I share her information to her email for anybody who wants to keep the conversation going with her after this. Agent Dabney, can you spend a little bit of time giving advice to just teenagers on how they can, number one, avoid getting into, like this system of being justice involved, getting a record, all that type of stuff, and then like the long-term impacts that you think that has on a person, like when they get justice involved at an early age?
Okay, let me start with first the long-term impact. So it's certain crimes, especially drug crimes, that if you get convicted of, you won't even be eligible for student loans. Like it's done.
What?
So
Hold up, say that again.
Yeah, certain crimes, once you get convicted of certain crimes, that's why they ask you on your FAFSA application, that's the student loan application, if you've been convicted of any crimes. It's because, with certain crimes, and if you was to click yes, they would ask you specifically. If you click yes, it's certain crimes that would exonerate you from being able to receive money, grant money to go to school. So that's a huge reason why you definitely don't want to get involved in the criminal justice system. That also, is what we call a revolving door. Once you start that process, it's kind of hard for you to escape it. And then two, let's say you get in trouble, you change your life, and now you're going to court for a traffic ticket. That's still going to pop up, and that's still what could stop you from getting that, like I said, PBJ that somebody else would have gotten who didn't have a record. So now you have this, and now you on probation, because not because of necessarily the traffic, but because they looked at your history and said, this person might need a rest. Let's put them on a little bit of supervision.
Hmm.
And as far as being able to stay away from, that type of kind of getting into that type of lifestyle and environment, is to choose your friends, choose your space, choose your environment, and I do that now as an adult. I told my girlfriend the other day, I only got room for one stupid friend, and I already got that role already taken. I'm not gonna have 10 of them.
Hold up.
And I know her from high school. That's why I don't drive her. But I don't hang around a bunch of people that's not, if you're not moving forward and progressive in your life, you ain't gonna be around me too long. I got room for one of them. That's it.
Hold up. Hey, you said I got room for one stupid friend, and that role already taken.
Yeah. And that's because I know her from high school. I love her. So I'm not going to, just kick her to the curb. But anybody else, no, we ain't doing it. If you're not at a certain state, no. Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh. Hey, what's your question?
Girl, you're true.
Oh man, that is definitely a jewel right there, man. That is crazy. That is crazy.
That's it.
Oh my God. Yeah, a lot of people are reacting to that, saying that they too didn't know that you make yourself ineligible for student loans and stuff with certain crimes. So
yeah, I know definitely CDS possession with intent to distribute. So selling drugs, I know for sure that's one. I don't know the whole list, but I know for sure that's one.
So what about when they say that your record is expunged, nobody's going to be able to see it? Like, is that all a lie?
Well, no, but only certain crimes are eligible for expungement as well. So once something is expunged, you shouldn't even have to mention it. I don't know exactly how that works, but you should be able to click no then if it's been expunged. But like I said, only certain crimes are eligible for that.
Got you. Okay. But it is possible for crimes committed and convicted or whatever as a juvenile to be expunged, and it don't get in the way of anything that you do like in adulthood.
Yeah, and a lot of times your juvenile record just isn't considered, period. And stuff. I know when I go to court and think, we don't consider we don't look at nobody juvenile. A lot of that stuff is still. Now,
Okay.
if you're a juvenile and you get charged as an adult for something, that's a total different thing. But as long as you've been charged as a juvenile for it, then that's not going to follow you.
Now, hold up. Can you explain that just a little bit? Because I think that can be a
little.
So
some charges. So if you're 15, but you get charged or convicted of murder, that's going to stick with you. You're going to get charged as an adult. There's no juvenile that gets charged with murder.
Regardless of the reason, self-defense, nothing.
Well, then that would be like a manslaughter maybe or something like that. But if you get charged with murder first degree, that's going to be an adult charge. You see what I'm saying? Now, okay. Car theft and stuff like that, you get charged with that as a juvenile. That's not going to be something, like I said, we don't even pull juvenile records. You can, some people do, I don't, and they certainly don't come up in court. But for the purposes of, like, let's say, if somebody's trying to get some, I hope this don't take it too far off a tangent. But one of my girlfriends looks at juvenile records just so she can get certain people off her caseload. So if a certain amount of arrests can get somebody in a higher supervision status, then she'll look for even juvenile arrests, just so she can be like, oh yes, he got 2 juveniles. That way she can put that nobody's really looking at your juvenile record.
Okay, that makes sense. Yes, we got a whole lot of requests to get your email so that we can connect. Absolutely, I'm going to send those out to you. What if you lie? Is it a way that they could find out if you lie?
It depends. Lie, like perjure yourself, lie on the stand, lie as a witness, like where you under oath.
What if you lie on that FAFSA application?
Oh, they're gonna find out more than likely. And then the thing is, even if they don't find it, you don't want to potentially pay back. You don't want that stain on you. Like, this is the federal government we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about wrongful convictions that aren't expunged yet?
Wrongful conviction, that shouldn't need an expungement. That should just be a not guilty, and I guess maybe you get it off your record at some point. But yeah, if it's wrongful conviction, first it's going to go from a guilty to a not guilty. Get that out first, and then figure out how to actually just get it so that if your name is run, it don't come up.
What about assault? Y'all, these are some great questions. And I see all y'all comments and stuff. Yes, absolutely. I want to share Agent Dabney's information. And yes, a lot of people affirming what you're saying.
What you mean with about it, as far as being juvenile or adult?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you get charged with assault as a juvenile. And Taylor, correct me if I'm asking it wrong, but if you get charged as a juvenile with assault, is that staying locked
As
away in your
long as
juvenile?
is been charged as a juvenile. As long as you go to the juvenile court, as long as that stuff is in juvenile, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Hey, this has been an amazing conversation. It has been fruitful. Can y'all believe that we had our time already? It felt like we just got started. It don't feel like a whole hour to do it.
That was fast.
Like, I know, man, but you did an amazing job. I appreciate it. And I'm not just saying that just because you're my sister. Like, I'm saying that for real, because you really offer value. And I think that for people who are thinking about this in terms of career, I think you gave them something great to think about, their perspective. And even just the fact that you talked about leadership, which should show up regardless of what career you choose or avenue you go to. And even talking about that entrepreneur spirit, I think is important. So this was amazing. This was absolutely, you got a bunch of people saying that they love this. This was great. Amen. Yeah.
All right. If y'all gave us some questions, I'll come back. It's Rona time. I'm home working from home. So
y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? So we might have to do a part 2 on
y'all
this.
asked some great questions. This was great. Thank
you so much, Agent Dabney. We really appreciate you. I'll talk to you later. Tell mommy I said hi.
Oh, she right here. My John said hi.
Hey, Ma.
Say hi. All right.
All right. See you, Jess.
All right. Bye.
All right. Yeah. After this, I can tell y'all related. Y'all are crazy. All right, man. Listen, we got Miss Mo about to get ready to come up at 12 o'clock. That was an amazing session that we had with Miss Dabney. So I'll give y'all a 3-minute break, and then we're going to be back at 12 o'clock with Miss Mo. All right. Hey y'all. There she go, Miss Mo.
Hey.
What's up? How you doing?
Nothing. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, man. I'm blessed. Did you get a chance to see any of the last one?
Yeah, I saw the beginning part of it. Yeah. Not the whole
Yeah,
thing, but I saw the beginning part. Yeah.
man. Agent Dabney had us on fire, man.
It was really good. With what I saw, it was really awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. I'm excited, man. We got really like a banger of a lineup this week. We got Dr. Josh coming tomorrow. Then
Yeah.
we got Miss Tiffany coming on Wednesday. And then we
Mhm.
closing the week out with Mr. Wesley.
Mhm.
Man,
Mhm.
yeah, it's about to be all right.
Listen, they about to bump us right out of our spots, man.
Man, listen.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. Yesterday and today. So I don't expect anything less, for tomorrow and the rest of the week. So yeah, I'm excited. And
Yeah.
they're coming in, y'all. Other guest speakers are coming in too. So y'all just be prepared and definitely, tag people that you want to see or email, text, call, whatever, people that you
Yeah,
want to see up here, because we'll do our best to definitely get them in.
absolutely, for sure, for sure. And the link too for people to let us know that they want to be a guest speaker is actually on the website too. So they can
Okay,
go.
yep.
Yeah,
Yep, on
they
the
can.
website.
Yeah, like yo, so if there's anybody that you want to see us have on that you want to see be a guest speaker, you can just give them the link to the website www.heartsmilesmd.com and they can just hit I want to be a guest speaker. Bam.
There you go. You heard it here
Yeah,
first.
there we go. Yeah, Taylor did request Mr. Hawkins. Yeah, and as soon as you
Yeah.
tagged him, sent him the information, and he did it. And I let him know, like, look, the young people requested you, so that's an
Yep.
important one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Ma talking about something that was not a break. That was a second.
Listen,
That
Miss Joni be on this all day,
was like
y'all.
3 minutes, man. That was like a whole 3 minutes. What are you talking about? Paula Campbell. Yeah, I love Paula Campbell. You know what? Hit her up. Jump in her DM. You know where to find her. Jump in her DM. Tell her you want to see her on here, man. I'm pretty sure she wouldn't mind. She's a dear friend of HeartSmiles.
She definitely loves y'all. So I don't think she
Yeah.
would mind either.
And Ma missed her the last time when she came to Thriving Thursday. When she came, like, either last month or the month before or something like that.
Oh dang, Ma, you missed her.
Yeah,
Yeah. She blessed us real quick.
yeah, off the new album too.
Yeah.
Stuff ain't nobody never even heard. Shout out to Paula Campbell, man.
Absolutely. People are out here supporting. So it's a really good thing, man. Really good thing.
Yeah.
If y'all hear anything in the background, I apologize in advance. I'm so sorry. I am
What's in the
so sorry.
background?
I don't know. Earlier, my father was singing, so like I feel like I don't know, but he knows that I'm in this session, so hopefully he won't be singing.
That's
It's just a
fine.
minute ago he was singing. So
Yo,
I
what he
don't know.
singing? Tell me, come on in. Show us what you got.
No. It's okay. No. He can't come. Maybe, I don't know. Taylor said, what we talking about today? I'm on fire. Baby girl.
Yeah.
Listen, I hope that you stay on fire. Today so Mar had recommended last week to talk about like competition and like competition within yourself. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. It'll definitely be like a more comment involved conversation. So please make sure y'all are commenting and asking questions. But yeah, that's kind of the overall theme of today. So hopefully we can just have a good conversation about that. And if any of y'all kind of want to hop on like towards the end, you're more than welcome to. Just kind of let us know. And yeah, that's what we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, I know that's right, man. Raise your hand if you in competition with yourself. It's
All
like
the time.
competition where? Competition who? Like,
Yeah,
like
but
this.
I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I like this.
Yeah, I just definitely, but like, there's definitely people still just in competition with other people or with other things all the time. So I think it's just important to have this conversation. And even even I'm in competition, not so much now, but even I'm in competition with other people or other things sometimes. Like I'll catch myself. So I think it's just really important to kind of talk about that. So we're gonna kind of start off just with like a little check-in, right? So because you can physically like hear and see me and Miss Joni gonna do it, but y'all definitely comment in the comments, with your answers to these questions I'm about to ask. So
Why you always trying to play me? I'm gonna do it. Look, I got my whiteboard right here.
I didn't
You gonna
say
do it?
anything. I didn't say that she wasn't gonna do it. I didn't say anything. I just said me and Miss Joni gonna do it. That's it. Did I play her, y'all? Did I do anything that would indicate that I was playing her?
Look, I'm doing it.
Okay. So the first one is literally how am I really feeling today? And that's aside from like, how somebody will ask you like how you doing and you'll say like fine. And it's just like an automatic response, kind of like, oh, I'm fine, I'm good. And they be like, okay, and then you kind of like move on with the conversation. This is kind of a chance to really like reflect on like how you're actually feeling. So I'll start off, and today I honestly like feel good. Like I feel refreshed. I feel just kind of inspired. Yeah, refreshed and inspired, honestly, are like the two words that I kind of feel today. So Miss Joni, it's your turn to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I will definitely admit I'm one of those people who my answer is consistent as far as when I'm asked that question. But like it's really because that's how I feel like genuinely most of the time. Like when people ask me how I'm doing, like I normally say like I'm blessed, I'm good, I can't complain. And that's just because like that's really just like my general attitude across the board, even if I'm having a bad day, because I always have it into perspective that my bad day really is a blessing to the average person. The average person would love to have my bad day as their problem. And my problems that I have really are good problems to have. So, like my honest answer to that question is that, I feel blessed, right? I really, really do. Even to be able to be on here with y'all now, like we just created this and, already like is really become like our job for real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who can say that they creating their own job?
Yeah, no,
Good
that's
problem to have.
thank you for your answer. And I think one of the reasons I kind of wanted to do something like this. So these are like my questions and like questions that I also just found like, on the internet, but I just like put them together just, as a check-in. I think it's important to check in with other people and with ourselves. And I'm definitely one of those people, with the example that I gave earlier, I'm one of those people like I will not be fine. I will tell you I'm fine. And I'll keep telling you I'm fine. Now the only thing that kind of gets me in trouble with that is my face. Like anybody who knows me like personally or just in general is just paying any kind of ounce of attention. My faces are just not always, my faces will always tell you how I'm really feeling. And so I think people, when I say like I'm fine, they'll be like, "Are you sure? Are you fine?" And like it's not that I'm making a face purpose on purpose for you to ask me. Like that's literally like just my facial expressions are just a hot mess. Like even rewatching some of these videos, I'm like, oof. Like even when something like the screen freezes or something like that, and I think that you can't see me, my face, like I caught a couple things on the recording, like, oh dang, that's not a good face, but it is what it is. So yeah, so that's kind of the first question. So the second one is what's taking up most of my headspace right now? So like what is like consuming your thoughts, or what are you like focusing the most on right now in this moment? So my answer is kind of obvious, I guess, but this session because it's like supposed to be kind of, you know, the session that I'm kind of hosting. So I'm just really like, that's kind of what took up my headspace this morning, and what's kind of taking up the most of my headspace right now. I just want to make sure that, you know, these sessions that I'm doing for y'all are, you know, helping people or, you know, supporting people or inspiring to people. And yeah, that's what's taking up most of my headspace.
Man, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. What take up most of my headspace, and this is on a regular basis, is what I gotta do next. So, like, you know, I be in the moment and I be, you know, enjoying the moment and trying to be there, but I would be a lie if I didn't say that it's always some part of my brain that's thinking about what's happening next. Because even though y'all only see me on here for the time that y'all see me on here, the time that I'm not on here, I'm hosting another session with other kids or with other adults and stuff like that. So it's like I'm always on. And this whole Rona situation has, you know, made that a little more intense because now I don't have travel time, don't really have like an official lunch hour, you know, and don't have, you know, some of those things that we kind of take for granted or don't even think about when we are just, you know, out and about in the world doing our daily thing. Like now it's just literally sitting right here going from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting. And my next session that I got to teach with these 12 kids, I don't even know that I got my plan ready. So as soon as I hop off with y'all, I gotta check to make sure I got that in place. But yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying, is that what's taking up like most of your headspace? Like right now in this moment, like I know that's like on a regular basis, but like right now in this moment, that's what's taking up most of your headspace?
No, right now in this moment, just where we are right now, just being here in this conversation and with this particular session right now.
Okay, got you. All right, thank you for your answer. And Mar just said, well, let me read this real quick. Oh, Taylor just said, what were you talking about today? I'm on fire. Yeah, I read that. And she said, why you always trying to play me? I replied to her and said, but wasn't even trying to play her though. And then Mar just said, y'all like this YouTube live over Instagram. At first I was like, I'm gonna have to adapt to this, but I'm starting to love it. Instagram was being annoying. Definitely, Mar. Definitely.
Yeah, and can I comment on that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yo, I did not want to leave Instagram. You know how once you get comfortable with something and you used to using something and your people were there and that's what you're doing, like I was perfectly fine with Instagram. And I'm not even gonna lie, if Instagram wasn't crashing our sessions, I would probably still be on it. But it was already issues that we had identified with Instagram. Even before all this Rona stuff, I had been saying like, look, we need to transition over to YouTube anyway. I've been saying it, but was never really serious about it because we only had Focus Fridays, which was every Friday, and that wasn't a problem. But having to use Instagram for something like this, it kept getting overloaded, kept kicking me off, was taking away my option to even go live. And they had that 59-minute restriction. So once you hit 59 minutes, Instagram don't care what you're talking about. They knocking you off. Versus with this, we can record whole 5-hour session in one block and just post that day. And then like, even if you didn't get a chance to see it now live, you aren't restricted to that 24-hour hold time. Now you can go back, you know, whenever, a week from now, a year from now. So yeah.
Well,
that was definitely forced growth.
yeah, it's definitely a whole bunch of people right now going on IG Live. Like I've never seen, and y'all know I don't really be messing with Instagram like that, but since it's there, and that's an account that I have, I'm definitely on it like more. And I had like 5 to like 7 IG lives this morning. I've never seen that like on my thing ever, but like everybody's using it because I mean that's just one of the resources that we have. So IG's gonna have to change their algorithm or whatever the heck they gotta do with their data to kind of fix that. But yeah, man. The last question for like the check-in is well, I guess it's last 2 questions, but they related to one another. What will I do today that will bring me joy? And what will I do today that will bring another person or others joy? So, you want to go first?
No.
It just seemed like you about to say something.
I'm not about to say nothing.
Okay, well, you think about it. So as far as what will I do today that will bring me joy, I don't know yet. I didn't figure it out. This, I feel like this isn't one of the common answers. Definitely doing this like brings me joy, but that's every day. So as far as like something like, something that I don't normally do that'll bring me joy today, I don't know. I'll figure it out. And what will I do today that will bring others joy? Check in on somebody that I haven't either talked to in a while, or somebody that I haven't heard from in a while. I'm just gonna check in on them, see how they're doing, and just get an update from them. So, yeah. You ready?
Man, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't do good with those what do you call them? Like those cheerful words, like, joy and stuff like. I mean, I know what it is, but I'm thinking like, what is that? Like, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah,
no,
Miss
I'm
Joan
not
ain't
about
got
to,
no joy.
yeah, like, I'm not about to bring nobody joy. Like,
Happy, fulfilled. Like, what's a better word that where you could, I guess, understand better the wording? Like, what's a better word for you?
I don't know. I don't even think it's a bad word choice. It's a fine word, but I just don't put myself in that category
Okay.
often, if at all, any, probably, if I'm being 100% real. I would just say, like, with my personality type, like, I'm more so like I'm always on. Like, every moment is a teaching moment. Every moment is a moment for me to try to help somebody make a difference that's going to make a positive difference, if not now, in their future. And I don't necessarily equate that with like joy and happy, just like stuff like that. Like,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
so,
That's fine. That's no problem. All right. Well, Miss Joan ain't answer the question, y'all, so it's fine. No, I get it. Yeah, I get it. So we're just gonna go right into the topic of the day. Okay. So I guess, so this whole idea of competition, right? Um, is competition healthy? Some people will say no, like at all, like no competition with others, no competition with yourself. And that's just kind of like what I was seeing as I was kind of looking this up and trying to, get ready for today. Some people will say no level of competition is healthy at all. Um, and then some people will say, yeah. So I am kind of going to talk about like my opinion on it. I think that competition is healthy in some cases, and that goes with yourself and with other people. Um, and I'm just kind of going to go down a couple of situations where I think it is healthy. So I think like if you're in school and like you and your friends or like you and another group of people kind of want to, create like a healthy competition as far as like your grades or like, doing well on an assignment or something like that, I think that that is able to work. And that's from my personal experience and from like what I hear others saying as well. Like, I think ultimately it makes you a better student. It can make you a better student. It can, build your skills in a certain subject. And it can ultimately advance the whole group. Like, your all your grades can rise and like you can get better, in the subject as a collective. Um, it was definitely helpful for me. Like, it created study groups. Like, when you needed help on something, you always had somebody to call. You always had somebody to kind of explain that thing to you. And then like, if you got the test back or whatever, you got a C, somebody else got a B, somebody else got an A. It's like, okay, like, all right, I got a C, dang. But then that person that got an A or got a B can explain something to you, or talk to you about what happened, and then you kind of can all get better. Another situation is like in sports, right? So if you're I'm going to speak about track, because track can definitely be an individual sport, and you can kind of just label it as an individual sport, but it's also a team sport as well. So like you can be trying to PR, get your personal record in your event. So let's say you're running like the 200-meter dash, if you're running outdoor, and let's say you run a certain time and you want to get faster, whatever. You do certain things, you build, you work out harder, you create certain scenarios where you can build your skills to get a faster time. So that would be like a competition within yourself. And then you may have teammates on your team that are running faster than you, and that's just nothing. That's literally what it is. They're running faster than you. They might just have more raw talent. They might be working harder than you, but they can be in positions to also help you where you want to go, and where you want to get. And then that also gives you opportunity to like practice with them, and just kind of work with them and see how they're doing. And then when you're running individual events in track, you're definitely competing against other people and other teams or whatever, but you have your personal like place that you get, so first, second, third, fourth, but then you have your team placement as well. So if you're in an individual event, and you get first place, you get the maximum amount of points for that event, which ultimately goes towards your team, which can help your team win, or can help your team advance in the final, or you know um do advance in the competition in general. So I think that can be healthy, can definitely get you in better shape and help you reach your personal goals and help you reach your team goals. um I think in some cases, like if you're trying to raise money for like a good cause, I mean, you'll see this done in the workplace, I think, more often than not, or like just amongst organizations or at school, and you're trying to raise money for something. It might be like, I don't know, Black Student Association over here, and then like, you know, Green and Club over here, and then you're trying to see, who can raise the most money. Ultimately, all the money goes towards the same cause, and in general, the one club may win, but and they might get like an incentive from winning or something like that, but ultimately you all have the same goal. You ultimately all have the same cause that you're fighting for. Now, those are like ideal situations, and I think people lose sight of the ultimate goal sometimes, but I think those are kind of environments where competition can be healthy, with other people. And I think some competition within yourself is also considered healthy competition. Um, so, Miss Joni, what are your thoughts on what
Um,
healthy competition is?
yeah, I mean, definitely healthy competition. I think the bottom line of it is it's going to help contribute to, something that is connected to your success, to your goals, or something that you care about. So, like, if you're just in competition with something or somebody just for no reason, then I really don't see the point in that. But, challenging yourself to do better, to be better, or like to reach a certain goal or a certain status. Like, yeah, I definitely agree that, that's healthy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, me too. Um, and then so I guess like write in the comments, like if you think that I missed something, or think Miss Joni missed something, or think, of other situations where competition would be healthy. Because I'm kind of gonna move into like when competition is not healthy. Um, so it's just like some questions that you can kind of ask, like, um, am I competing only for my personal advancement? So kind of talking about what Miss Joni kind of mentioned. Am I only doing this so I can look good? Am I only doing this because I want everybody to look at me, you know, as the best? And I think that that's a problem. If you're in competition and that's kind of what the goal is. So like, I think when I was in school, at one point I kind of wanted to just like be the best at it, right? So I just wanted to get all the A's. I just wanted to get all the good grades or whatever. And I wasn't learning anything, y'all. Like at one point, like I was getting good grades, but I didn't know what I was like doing. It was like a memory thing. I wasn't actually learning the topic or learning anything about the subject. I was just kind of remembering answers to things, which is not a reflection of like what education is supposed to be. But I was like the one, you know, getting a good grade. So did it matter? And it definitely did matter. But at the time, I didn't think I didn't think that my personal education mattered. I just thought that whatever it said on the paper mattered. Mar said, some heartbeats be in competition and I just don't get it. They rather be distancing from each other than trying to come together. I think that happens in other situations too, Mar, not just with our heartbeats. Definitely does, but not just with our heartbeats. So yeah.
That's crazy. Like competition, why? Like, like that's just crazy. Like if it's not like a friendly competition, then it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
And you're gonna realize that when you get to the point of your life where it's like, wow, I done did all this. It ain't made me $1. It ain't made me one connection. It ain't granted me one opportunity. It has absolutely done nothing. And all you did was waste your time and waste your effort. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I'm wondering like, and I don't have a clear answer to this question, but like I'm wondering like, how do you overcome that competition? I guess if you find yourself, you know, competing for your personal advancement or competing in the rest of these kind of like unhealthy situations that we're gonna talk about, like how do you get yourself out of that? Because I think once you're in it, it's really, really hard to get yourself out of it. Yeah, so
I mean, it depends. It depends on the situation. Like for this age range that we're talking about, like they don't have to worry about like a title at a job or you know something like that. So like those things are less of a concern. At this age, at this stage, all you really got to do is make a conscious decision to not engage yourself in it, to not even worry about it or care about it. Because if you think about it, all of it really is psychological. It's not like everybody going to the racetrack over on Northern Parkway and everybody racing. Nobody's doing that. Like all this stuff really is just psychological. Like how you looking at somebody else, how you looking at their opportunities, how you looking at what they do and how they do and what they move, and then you readjusting how you move based on how they move. All you gotta do is say, I don't want to do that no more. I'm gonna move how I for real. I'm gonna move how I want to move based on where I want to go. Here's my version of success, and I'm gonna align myself with that. Simple, easy.
okay, but what if you can't, like, what if you just can't do that? Like, remove, like, you know how to do that, right? You know how to, like, psychologically, like, remove yourself. You know how to, like, not even get caught up in that kind of stuff in the first place, right? But, like, what do you do if you just can't help it? Like, you don't know how to do that. What do you do?
You gotta put your pride to the side. That's nothing but ego. That's nothing but ego telling you, oh, you gotta be the best, or you gotta do this, you gotta outshine this person, you gotta be a step above. That is nothing but ego. Learn early how to silence that ego, and you will be a much better person in this world because of it. A big head, big egos will keep you out of doors, will keep you out of opportunities. And I would hate for somebody to have to learn that the hard and painful way. And trust me, the only reason I know how to do it is because of my age, because I'm older, you know, like my situation, I'm not saying it would have been much different because I never was that anyway. Like I never was a hater. I never cared about what the next person was doing. So that was just kind of naturally already in me. I only cared about where I was going and what I needed to do that. But, you know, I definitely have made a lot of mistakes in the past. And, you know, thank God I learned from them. But it's like, man, all you got to do is just decide who you want to be and then just be that person. And everybody else automatically becomes obsolete.
All right, y'all. Y'all heard it. Because I didn't know the answer. I didn't know a clear response other than just like, just don't do it. But I couldn't like identify the steps as to why or how that you could do that. So another question that you can kind of ask yourself if you're trying to determine if this is a healthy or unhealthy competition, am I trying to like impress someone else or get attention from someone else? And I think the automatic situation that I can kind of go to is like within like your personal relationships. But it definitely can happen in like the workplace or just kind of like in like regular like life. Like, am I doing this thing because like I just want people to like look at me like, or am I trying to like impress like my boss, or am I trying to impress my spouse or my partner, or you know, trying to do these certain things to get attention? And I think one of the biggest examples for like kind of this for like teens is kind of like if you're trying to impress your parents or like the heads of your like household or like the, you know, the adults in your household. I think that there are definitely certain things that you know, you're kind of going to have to do that you're not going to like, just kind of like from living under their roof. Because if you're living with them and that's just the only living situation that you have, you're gonna have to do certain things. But if you're just trying to like do everything in your life and dedicate your whole life to like impressing your parents, especially when you're in a transition phase, like let's say you do move out, you know, of that house, or you're transitioning as far as your mindset, or you're transitioning as far as the things that you're involved in. It's going to be really, really hard to kind of get over that. But you're going to have to, like, you can't make your whole life about your parents or about your guardians. So that's kind of like an example that I have for that. And I'm a victim of that as well. So that would kind of be my example of trying to impress, you know, someone else or give fulfillment to someone else. Miss Johnny, you have an example of any time in your life? It don't gotta be right now, because I know you're really good with the separation, but where kind of like you were doing something to kind of impress someone else or get attention from someone else, you know, work, whatever it was.
I mean, yeah, and I would go back to when I had first started high school. Like I really wanted to impress my mother in terms of, you know, like my grades and stuff like that. So I had my report cards made. Like, and my mother, if she watching this, she probably laughing right now. But like I had my report cards made because I wanted her to be happy with me. I wanted to impress her. And I was telling the girl at the time that was making my report cards, I'm like, all right, you know, like give me some high grades, but definitely don't make like math or science like any higher than a C, because she ain't never going. But like, yeah, like, and to me at that time of my life, like that felt good to give my mother these report cards and to see some of the stress relieved, you know, off of her face. Because my mother, she was working hard trying to take care of us. She didn't have time for a lot of stuff. And I definitely did not want to be a burden. So I was definitely trying to impress her. But man, when Baltimore City schools got slick, sent them things in the mail, she saw what the real deal was.
Listen.
That was a whole mess. That was a whole entire mess. But But yeah, man, that was probably like the time in my life where I tried the hardest to impress somebody. I just wanted my mother to be happy.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I think I spent and I still do some things, depending on what it is. But I think I spent a lot of my life kind of just trying to impress like my parents, or impress like people in my family. And like some people don't even like care that much. Like, and I'm not necessarily talking about like your family, but people in your family too. Like some people don't care if you're doing, being successful or doing certain things. Like sometimes you'll work so hard to impress somebody and present them with whatever information or present them with your accomplishments, and they just be like, all right, whatever. Or they won't even care. Like, and then what? Like, and that's kind of why you can't get that fulfillment from like other people or to impress others, just because 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be a disappointment. And then like you have to like find ways to personally motivate yourself, always, because at the end of the day you're gonna have yourself. So yeah, man. Um, and then so another question that you can kind of ask yourself, like, am I competing because I am jealous of something that somebody else has? Or I'm jealous because, somebody might take my spot, or I guess that's kind of going into another question, but am I just operating out of this spirit of jealousy? And I don't think there's any, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's any situation where jealousy is healthy. Because you're only going to be like, people have their certain talents. And I don't think that it's fair to be jealous of like talents or jealous of things that God gave other people. But I do recognize that there are feelings of jealousy that are in, people's spirits. Um, and I think that that's not a good place to operate from. So ask yourself, like, are you jealous of something or someone? And then you can also ask yourself, like, am I unnecessarily exhausting myself? Like, am I just tired to the point where like I'm not even working towards anything anymore? I'm just like doing the thing because, I just want to be the best at it, but I'm tired. It's not advancing me. It's not advancing anybody else. It's not contributing to anything bigger than me. And that's where you kind of have to reevaluate what you're doing in your situation. So those are kind of situations that you can kind of, um, identify if the competition is healthy or unhealthy. Um, and so I kind of wanted to talk about like situations where you're in competition with yourself, and like how that contributed to like a greater purpose. I'm gonna need a little bit more time to think about my example, but if you have an example of that, that would be great.
Yeah, you talking to me or you talking to
Yeah,
the people?
you. I'm
Oh,
talking to the people. Listen, all of the questions that I asked, I want, you know, y'all to say in the comments if you have any examples of them, or if you want to answer a question, or if you want to ask a question too. I'll do my best to answer it. And I'm sure Miss Joni will do the same.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So competition with myself, like that's like the only competition that I recognize. Like and even before I was at, or even on this journey that I'm on now, like that was just kind of always pretty much naturally, especially in adulthood, like naturally where I was at, because um for whatever reason, like God was just always blessing me, and I was always in positions that I didn't deserve to be in. Like I was always a step ahead of, where the average person who was my age was supposed to be. Like I even remember, like even when I bought my house, my sister was just all like, wow, Joan. She was like, you buying a house before you 30? Like, that's amazing. And to me, I didn't even think about it. I was what? I was like 25 or 26 or something like that. Like I didn't even think about it. That was just something that I knew that I wanted to do because I didn't want to be giving my money away to rent. And I recognized that earlier. But yeah, like the only person I'm ever trying to be better than, you know, is myself, and try to make sure that if I look at my life, I can see my growth, you know, week after week, month after month, year after year. And even now with the journey that I'm on now, you know, like with HeartSmiles, with my business and everything, like just looking back, like 5 years ago, I'm like, wow, like I literally started with nothing, like absolutely, like zero, everything is what I started with. And then now to see it now, it's just like, wow, imagine if I was focused on trying to beat somebody else, or if I had somebody else as my target, or trying to be in competition with somebody else. God knows where I would be. I know that it wouldn't be here, and it wouldn't be better than here either.
I think, yeah, definitely removing those outside, motivators for competition is important. And I think that I'm like if you ask me like today who I'm competing with, I couldn't think of anybody, but I don't think every day looks like that for me. Like just like being honest. And I think like in the last couple of maybe like the last like year of my life, like especially kind of like going into like the full-time like workforce, I think, looking at like, my friends or like, my people that I kind of went to school with, and like just, and that wasn't last year, I guess that was the last like couple of years of my life, but just looking at people like they were getting jobs. Like, yeah, I did not have a job, a full-time job, right out of school. And I think that's probably another conversation for another time. But I did not have a full-time job out of school. But the people that I was in classes with, my close friends and stuff, they were getting jobs. And I was like, okay. And I was definitely happy for them. I definitely wasn't like jealous. But I was just like, all right, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I get these interviews? Why am I like, what do I need? Like that these other people are showing, like what kind of skills don't I have, to kind of get these things. And I definitely think that there's like a method as far as if you're like interviewing. But I was really like, all right, so I'm in competition with everybody else that's in this room right now. I'm in competition with, everybody going for this spot as I was like going on interviews. And then I would get that letter or that phone call, or I would get nothing. Because that's also a real response, like nothing. You don't hear anything from people that you interviewed with. But I would get those like things like, oh no, we took somebody else that had more skills, or we decided to go a different route, or whatever wordings that these places use that basically tell you no. So I was definitely kind of grappling with that. And I guess that would be like my example as far as that. And I don't know if I was in competition with myself. I definitely wasn't in competition with myself. I was in competition with everybody else going for that spot. I didn't even know these people. I didn't know their name. I didn't know, where they were coming from or whatever. But I was just like, I got to be better than them. That's it. Mm-hmm. I wasn't saying I had to be a better version of myself. I was like, I got to be better than them. And that was kind of like where I was operating from. Now that I'm kind of past that hump. Is definitely I don't operate from that mindset at all as far as work anymore. So I think that's like a period of growth for me, but also I also like recognize that time like that wasn't really a good thing for me.
Well, that's a good point that you bring up too, and I think that it's important for everybody to recognize, like where you are in your life, because even with what you just described, like that's kind of like normal work culture. Because even when I was in corporate America and I was helping people to move up the ladder in terms of, you know, I was mentoring people and stuff like that. Like one thing I would always, you know, say is, yo, you got to be better than the competition that you don't know in terms of how your resume is presented, especially when you get to the interview. Like you got to do something in your interview that when we are behind closed doors talking about the candidates, that we don't even got to look at your resume. We can just already remember, because that's how memorable you was. We can already remember what made you stand out and what made you better than the other 50 applicants that we had to sit through. So I think that, you know, that's definitely a applicable mindset to have in that particular type of situation, you know, if you are, because like you want to be able to be the one to get the job. You want to be the one that the recruiters call. And you're right. Sometimes, we just don't even call because we got so many. So we're going to call the one that we want. I know for me, when I was doing interviews, one tactic I used to always use is that I would flip the conversation early on before you even got a chance to ask me. Like the first question, I was already asking you if I could do a presentation about myself first. Like, and that's how I went into my interviews. And I gave you a little packet. It was all about me. And I was just basically walking you through my whole entire life, my career, applicable skills, applicable experiences, everything, and talking about that. And then asking you, okay, what questions do you have for me? And like most of the time, like people who was interviewing me, they threw their questions out the window and it was just started asking me stuff about stuff that I presented to them. And like everybody remembered me as the person who controlled their own interview.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Not a packet. But
Yeah.
no, I get it. I get it. I'm gonna read a couple of these comments and then I'm gonna kind of talk about, I guess, what what made it kind of flip for me as far as when I was interviewing. So Cam said period, and I think that came in when you said that you were in competition with yourself. Um, she said, think of it as just it wasn't the job for you. Yes, definitely. That's one of the ways to think of it. And things that's for you don't ever skip over you. Absolutely, Cam. I like that. I definitely like that. I be screenshotting some of your comments sometimes because I gotta go back and read them for myself. Um, and that goes for everybody, not just Cam. That goes for everybody. In other sessions too. And then Cam also said, when you compete with yourself, though, you're basically your biggest critic. So it'll show, and the motivation and passion you have will show. Yeah. So, all right. So I'm actually going to talk about that, and hopefully I have enough time to go back to what that switch was for me when I was interviewing. So, you're definitely your biggest critic, or you can be your biggest critic when you're competing with yourself, and that can be healthy, but it can also could be unhealthy. Because if you're just not satisfied at all ever with what you're doing, and that's not to say that you should stay stagnant. So like that's not to say like you should do something and just be satisfied with it and stop, striving to do more, because that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like you're just constantly telling yourself you're not good enough, or constantly telling yourself, that you can't do this thing, even though you're doing all the things, like you're doing all other things, you're doing multiple other things, but you just can't shape this one thing that you're not getting the hang of. That's when that becomes an issue. And when you're starting to tell yourself just all these negative things about yourself, and you're not, using more positive things to tell yourself, then that's definitely a problem. But then on the flip side, being your own biggest critic can be helpful to you. Like you can say, oh dang, like I didn't get this time, but like what can I do to research more or to build more, so the next time that this situation comes up, or the next time that something like this situation comes up, I can do better, and I can also, contribute significantly to the conversation of the situation. So I think that there's definitely a fine line, as far as being your biggest critic. Um, but yeah, no, Ken, thank you for that. Mara says sometimes competition can lead to your biggest fails. Yes. Especially if you involve in other people. You will fall flat on your face. And there's plenty of times where I fell flat on my face. But yeah, you'll definitely fail. And so I kind of wanted to hop back into what kind of was the switch for me as far as like, you know, doing all these interviews and wondering like, all right, what's wrong with me? Like I'm faulty, like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. So the switch for me happened when I used the resources around me. So like I was using one form of my resume, and turns out like I talked to somebody that was kind of like working in the public health field, and she was like, nah, and she said it in the nicest way, but basically she told me my resume was trash. The content was good, but the way that I formatted it wasn't good. And sometimes like some of these jobs use like I don't really know what it's called, but they put your resume through something and they like look for like keywords, or they, you know, they're looking that you tailored your resume to the job that you're applying for. And so like she was like, no, you got to do this, this, and this. She was like, make it, you know, as simple as possible, but still like showcase like what you've done in the previous positions that you had. Change my whole resume. So that one was a good thing for me. And another good thing for me was just kind of being confident in what I brought to the table, and just being confident in like having conversations with these people. I wasn't looking at the interview as a conversation. I was looking at the interview as, okay, they're going to ask me all these questions. I got to get the answer right. Like, you know, I was kind of looking at it as a test. And that was a problem because I was like having pre-formed answers in my mind. But if they didn't ask me that question that I prepared for, that would mess me up. And so I was just like, Morgan, like breathe, listen to the question, be confident in like what you bring to the table. If you don't know the answer to the question, take a minute, pause, think about it, because that's another problem that I had. Like instead of thinking about the answer to the question, I would just immediately answer it. That was a problem. And just kind of like being more confident and comfortable in my situation, even though I didn't know these people. So yeah, those were kind of things that were like turning points for me. And something ended up working. And kind of, and also making sure that my passion, you know, shines through. Because I think sometimes you definitely just have to, you know, get jobs that you're going to be unsatisfied with, you know, for a certain amount of time. But I tried to make sure that whatever jobs that I applied to, that I had passion tied into it. And I was able to show the people, you know, my passion for whatever job that I was applying for. So, yeah.
Man, that's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. And we are just about at our time for real.
Yeah, man.
Like, I'll be going by like that, man. It's just crazy.
Does time go by like that for you though? Because you be on here all day.
Yeah, I know. I mean, for this particular session.
Oh, okay. Well, I get it.
Yeah, man. So I definitely think that this is a very important conversation, a timely conversation. And when I say timely, I mean like in the sense of, you know, I can see and know teenagers who deal with this a lot. And, you know, hopefully this helps somebody, you know, rethink about competition and even placing themselves in unnecessary competition in the first place. And just really, you know, how you decide to react to that and handle that.
Mar said, I think my thing. I don't know. Mar said, I recently have competition with myself, joining all these Zoom meetings, currently doing online work, resending to emails, texting companies and programs, doing my application for Crystal Ray. Ken said, yes, Mar. And he said, joining the success session, I gotta hold myself accountable. I always gotta make time. Absolutely, absolutely, Mar. Yes. Oh,
Yo,
yes.
I
My
wish
three
I was
girls. I
moving
don't know
like
if you're
him
saying
at that
something, Miss Joni.
age.
I apologize. Um, I don't know what you said. But it's fine.
No, I said I
Um,
wish I was on it like that when I was his age.
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because I feel like another situation where like I'm in competition with myself is like every morning, yo. Like I am not a morning person. Like I've been trying, probably for like a good, and maybe I'm not trying hard enough because it's been like a few years that I've been trying to turn myself into a morning person. But I just be laying there. I'd be like, all right, do you absolutely have to get up? And then I have to go through the things that I have to, go through that day. And it's like, yeah, you do have to get up. So yeah. Um,
You what do you consider like a morning person? Because like somebody had said that to me the other day, and they were talking about like 9 o'clock, and I'm like, that's not a morning person. Like by 9, half of our day is done.
yeah. You're not even lying. What do I consider? I consider a morning person to be like somebody can get up at six, like 6 or like 7, maybe not 7, maybe like 5:30. 5:30. 5:30 is like a time that you can get up and like be productive and be happy about it. And I think that's where I struggle because I be up. I'm really good at training myself to like still talk to people in like a joyful like tone or whatever. I'm definitely a little bit more irritable in the morning. Um, but like I train myself to like appear as if I'm like happy, but like y'all, especially like when I'm like having to like go into the office or like do something that starts, for example, MLK Day. Now y'all know I say it every time I get on here. I love y'all. I really, really do. But I had to get up at 5 a.m. on Martin Luther King Day to like get everything like together because I had like some supplies with me and I just had to like make sure I was like warm enough and like make sure I had like extra. So I had to get up at 5 a.m. And I was like sitting in the car and I was like, I gotta be happy in like 2 hours. I gotta be happy and make sure that I'm smiling and like make sure that I'm like contributing positively to other people's lives. So yeah, that's difficult. Let me try to read these real quick before our session goes out. Ken said, yes, more. Um, Ken said, right time management and balancing being productive has been kind of difficult. Yes, it has. And I think y'all talked about this in Miss Simone's sessions, but creating that schedule for yourself is really, really helpful. Maybe y'all talked about it in other sessions, but I just remember talking about it in Miss Simone's sessions. Mara said, Kim, you've been doing great as well. Such an accountable partner. Miss Joni, I was late for a meeting this morning because my sleep schedule, and she does a great job holding me accountable. Oh, that's nice. I like when y'all like being nice to each other. That brings joy to my heart. Ken said, Miss Joni, you gonna be on this meeting at 3?
I'm gonna be teaching at 3.
Well, she's gonna be teaching at 3. Maya said, thank you, Cam, so much. Cam said, thank you, Mar. I love it. We're nice to each other. And Cam said, I'm grumpy when I wake up in the morning, depending on what I do. When I wake up and get on these sessions, I've been in a better mood. Yeah, me too. Definitely me too.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
All right, y'all. Get out your face. This is the end.
Man, well, thank you so much, Ms. Mo. Thank you guys for another productive day with success sessions. I really appreciate it. We done for the day, man. So I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow, and I'm super excited about tomorrow because we got the vice dean of the John Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, Dr. Josh Sharfstein, joining us tomorrow. So that's gonna be an interesting conversation, and y'all know that Hopkins globally is on the front lines of this corona crisis, like globally, not just Baltimore, but the whole entire world is looking at what Hopkins is doing. So it's a big deal to have somebody who's on the front lines at Hopkins join us tomorrow. So it's going to be all things Rona. Bring all your questions, all your comments, all your concerns, everything. And even if you don't necessarily have any questions about Corona, if the medical field at all or public health at all is a career interest for you, that's the conversation to be in, man. Talk about building your network. This is a big network builder, man. Big network builder.
It's a huge one. It really is.
Yeah, y'all heard Ms. Mo say it's a huge one. Like, this is a big deal, man. Like, y'all, yeah, this man all the way up here, he coming down here to talk to us. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So definitely take advantage of our guest speakers, because it's an opportunity for you to, build your network and to get opportunities that might not have been available to you otherwise. So I'm excited about tomorrow.
Yeah, me too, man.
All right, cool. Well, I'm out here. Enjoy the rest of your day. On to my next meeting, and then my next one, and then my next one. And I'll see y'all tomorrow starting at 10. Success sessions, y'all. See y'all.
See y'all.